Overnight with a nightly low of 74 degrees. You're listening to Double Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Double Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition, Taco Tuesday. Gotta have some Mexican later, Fancy Brian. How you doing, big guy?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I braved a hailstorm yesterday.
I can't believe it's only Tuesday. Feels like Friday. Should be Friday. It feels like we've already lived like 4 days this week. Hail, lightning, little weather affected radio. You know, when it lightnings and you got your antennas up on the high towers and stuff happens. So we apologize, Fancy Brian. You are a talented guy. We're up and running. Full speed.
It's
full
shocking.
Speed ahead.
It's shocking, friends.
It is shocking. And it's a little scary to me. I don't really understand the whole, I understand like electricity, the theory, but the concept of touching stuff that touches electricity. I don't even like plugging stuff in the wall outlets. A little scary for me. Get a little scared.
Ever since you did that one fork, it just went bad from there, huh?
That, when you're a kid, 9-volt batteries on your tongue. Do you ever do?
Oh, yeah.
Really, really stupid stuff.
Yeah, I still do that. I got my kid to do that, too.
I'm pretty sure there might have been some forks in the wall sockets at our house. Pretty sure. And the fact that I'm still living is just a minor miracle. Evan here in the world headquarters, Madison, Wisconsin, screening your calls at 844-967-2789. A couple of show notes. We've got Dr. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus, joining us at 3:30 today Central Time. He's co-deviling up until Dom gets here. Do you think the birthday boy is going to show?
I think he might, just out of habit. But whether it's actually totally him, like 100% or not, that remains to be seen.
It is Flag Day, after all. He does like to celebrate Flag Day.
Everybody does, don't you? I mean,
and of course, June birthday month. He's also celebrating that, as am I and several of our listeners. So Dom comes around at 4. We hope, fully connected or otherwise. My phone's telling me, call Dominic, birthday found in contacts. Yeah, like I'm not going to talk to that guy. I'd prefer not to, but I suspect we will. So that's for later. But for right now, Fancy Brian, this shouldn't be a shocker. Oh, yes. One other show note. The January 6th Select Committee will not have a hearing tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So normal programming, if you're listening here on Devil Radio, you get, our pals Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman. And if you're listening, down on the Shaw, you get Earl Ingram and Tom Hartman. So anyways, and the Devil's Advocates and Dueling Tangents. Luke, what a great week for Luke to take.
Yeah, no way, huh? Hey, by the way, I heard Stephanie, I know you love bringing up other shows, but Stephanie mentioned you today, or at least the folks filling in for Stephanie mentioned you today.
What'd they say?
I did not hear, but I heard that people listening were talking about you. They were talking about you and calling out Fox News. So
that's so nice of them. If we'd been up and running a little bit earlier this morning, I might have heard that. I had to listen on stream. If you don't have the Devil Radio app, stormy days like yesterday are the exact reason you need it, because you never know when the lightning's going to strike. A little thunder. Anyways, Saturday Night Massacre. The Saturday Night Massacre that almost was, that could have been. Hell, it would have been January 3rd. I'm not even sure what day of the week. Well, January 6th. Well, anyways, Tuesday was the 5th. The 6th was a Wednesday, right? That's when they invaded the U.S. Capitol, when the little coup d'etat plan was executed. That was January 6th, right? Wednesday. So the 3rd, if the 5th was Tuesday, and I know I'm slow on this math, it could have been a Sunday night massacre. But new reporting at the Washington Post, want to share with you, our fair audience. 3 days before Congress was slated to certify the 2020 presidential election, a little-known Justice Department official named Jeffrey Clark, we heard of him, rushed to meet President Donald Trump in the Oval Office to discuss a last-ditch attempt to reverse the results. Little last-ditch coup plot. I read on. Clark, an environmental lawyer by trade, they make the finest coup plotters, don't they? Had outlined a plan in a letter he wanted to send to the leaders of key states that Joe Biden won. It said that the Justice Department had, and here's the quote, identified significant concerns about the vote, and these states should consider sending a separate slate of electors supporting Donald Trump for Congress to approve. In fact, Clark's bosses had warned there was not evidence to overturn the election. What'd Bill Barr call it? Malarkey, I think was the term, something like that.
Malarkey is awful, but we invented it, so all right.
In fact, Clark's bosses had warned that there was not evidence to overturn the election and had rejected his letter days earlier. Now they learned that Clark was about to meet with Trump. Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen tracked down his deputy, Richard Donahue, who had been walking on the mall in muddy jeans and an army t-shirt. There was no time to change. They raced to the Oval Office. Guy shows up at the Oval Office, jeans, muddy jeans, and a t-shirt. And he's still probably better dressed than Trump. As Rosen and Donahue listened, Clark told Trump that he would send the letter if the president named him Attorney General. So this is what, a job ask? Just make me the head of the Department of Justice because I'm well qualified. I am an environmental lawyer with a coup plot in my pocket. History is calling, Clark told the president, according to a deposition from Donahue exerted in a recent court filing. This is our opportunity. We can get this done. 3 days before January 6th, Donahue urged Trump not to put Clark in charge, calling him not competent and warning of mass resignations by the Justice Department officials. The old Saturday Night Massacre.
That's what he wanted.
If he became the nation's top law enforcement official, according to Donahue's account. What happens if, I'm quoting from the Washington Post, and they're quoting Donahue here. What happens if within 48 hours, we have hundreds of resignations from your Justice Department because of your actions? Donahue said he asked Trump, what does that say about your leadership? You think Trump cares about his reputation as a leader? Come on. Just never wants to be branded a loser. Clark's letter in his Oval Office meeting set off one of the tensest chapters during Trump's effort to overturn the election, which culminated 3 days later with rioters storming the U.S. Capitol. His plan could have, here was the plan, folks. The Jeffrey Clark coup plan was to decapitate the Justice Department leadership and could have overturned the election. Because what are they telling the Justice Department to do? Send out letters to the states saying there's fraud. Of course, there was no fraud. Bill Barr said there's no fraud. There's no fraud. But that's what he's instructing the people to do. And he's got a willing accomplice within the Justice Department and Jeffrey Clark, the environmental lawyer turned coup plotter. A little bit more. Clark's actions have been the focus of a Senate Judiciary Committee investigation and an ongoing probe by the Justice Department's Inspector General. Everybody wants a piece of Jeffrey Clark, and now are expected to be closely examined during the June hearings by the House Committee investigating the insurrection of January 6, 2021. I thought we'd moved on to calling this what it is, a coup against the government, a coup against democracy, a coup against the vice president, and apparently a thwarted coup against the Justice Department. More. After the New York Times reported in January of 2021 about Clark's actions, he said he engaged in, and here's his quote, a candid discussion of options and pros and cons with the president, denied that he had a plan to oust Rosen. He did, and criticized others in the meeting for talking publicly and distorting the discussion. How dare they? Don't distort my coup plot. Now, however, key witnesses have provided Congress with a fuller account of Clark's actions, including new details about the confrontation that took place in the Oval Office January 3rd that lasted nearly 3 hours. I didn't think Trump had the attention span. The evidence, which fills in crucial details about Clark's efforts, includes an email showing he sent a draft of a letter outlining a plan to try and overturn the election by a just-arrived Justice Department official who had once written a book claiming President Barack Obama planned to subvert the Constitution. But larger mysteries could still be solved by the upcoming January 6th committee hearing slated to examine Clark's actions, including the crucial question of whether Clark and his allies were acting on their own initiative or whether they were one piece of a larger, well-planned effort to keep Trump in power. That question gets to the heart of the committee's professed mission, proving there was a coordinated, multi-step effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, Saturday Night Massacre. Only they didn't roll over and play dead. They weren't loyal enough for Trump. Surprised he didn't fire him like Comey. Come back, the devil's advocates. It's only a Tuesday, should be a Friday, but we'll struggle through. We got to find Code Devil joining soon. He is Dr. Harvey Kaye, but you could be next. 844-967-2789. The phone lines, they're open for you.
They hire usually good people.
Well, if you say who gets fired, it always has to be the top. I mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top. And the president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't like doing that. That's not his strength.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. I got popcorn. Shh. Sorry. It's some candy.
Getting back to the moments we miss
Shush.
starts with getting informed. Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
You recall the Capitol insurrection? A post-ABC News poll showed 54% said Trump should be criminally charged for inciting the riot. That's like a litany of criminal allegations against the former president. You can say it's all partisanship and a witch hunt, but there wasn't one credible accusation against Obama during his entire 8-year term. So how Republicans just ignore all the evidence? I mean, he was perpetrating a coup on multiple levels.
The Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Malarkey. The Devil's Advocates invented malarkey.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition. That's the malarkey, man. Should be much later in the week. Big storms blew through Madison. Big storms all through the state of Wisconsin last night. I guess some damage out there. We were affected, but we're back and doing it strong on the radio And you can be a part, 844-967-2789. Before the fine Dr. Harvey Kaye co-devils with me at 3:30, Fancy Brian, I want to get a little opinion out there from Jennifer Rubin. Her headline at the Washington Post, she is a columnist. This is her opinion, but I share much of it. No Republican candidate should be able to escape the January 6th hearings. Nobody gets out alive. Let me read and then, add my little editorialization. Not a single Republican running for office this November should be able to escape the revelations of the House January 6th committee's investigation. As this digital ad makes clear, and she's got an ad here, Republican witnesses during Monday's hearing should have obliterated whatever doubt was left about the 2020 election results. And then, they showed the Bill Barr calling malarkey on all the voter fraud claims, the big lie. Someone else that uses that sort of profane language occasionally. A number of GOP officials, including former U.S. Attorney BJ Pak, former Philadelphia City Commissioner Al Schmidt, former Justice Department lawyers Richard Donahue and Jeffrey Rosen, and other members of the administration, including former Attorney General William Barr, all testified that they diligently checked out every claim of voter fraud, no matter how idiotic, as Barr put it, I like that term, idiotic, time and again. They found nothing. And as Rep. Zoe Lofgren, Dem from California, pointed out, none of the conspiracy-minded audits, air quotes, cyber audits and others, found fraud either. No one found fraud, not even the cyber ninjas. There was never any real evidence behind the claim that Donald Trump won in 2020. Instead, there were crackpot conspiracy claims from Trump's attorneys, Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. And again, the takeaway from yesterday's J6 hearing, Rudy was drunk as a skunk. Election night when he proposed, just go out and claim victory, sir. A little bit more. The crackpot conspiracy claims from Trump attorneys Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and Trump advisor Peter Navarro. Giuliani had his legal license suspended because he brought election claims in court without a scintilla of evidence. Powell suffered sanctions for her frivolous lawsuits as well. That's the Kraken lady, right? Sidney Powell. And Navarro was recently charged with contempt of Congress, put in handcuffs. Even if it wasn't obvious, then the big lie was cooked up by Trump and cranks peddling baseless claims, each of which had been shot down. Yet, as the Post reports, district by district, state by state, voters in places that cast ballots through the end of May have chosen at least Fancy Brian, 108 candidates for statewide office or Congress who have repeated Trump's lies. 108 and counting. We don't even get to our primaries here in the state of Wisconsin until August 9th. Every candidate running for governor as a Republican this year is either down for fully rigged or at least maybe fully rigged election. There's not a Republican that will stand up and say, of course, Joe Biden's the president. And this time we're going to win. We're going to do better next time. What happened to the whole thought of you lose, you get up, you fight another day? Republicans only want to fight another day, at the U.S. Capitol. Trying to, coup d'etat. But anyways, back to Rubin's fine writing here at the Post. That means a lot of Republican candidates will have to face some uncomfortable questions. Let's start with a flock of Senate candidates spouting the big lie. Let's not forget the one right here in our own backyard. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. He might be an incumbent, but he is a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Ron, I've heard you on the radio, because we play it here on the radio, you doing the math. Donald Trump definitely lost the state of Wisconsin because he didn't collect as many votes as his own assembly and congressional colleagues, I guess I should call them. Other Republicans up and down the ballot got 51,000 more votes than Trump. So people came out and voted Republican, yet omitted voting for Trump. So anyways, Ron Johnson has said that publicly. or at least got caught clandestinely saying it publicly. Fancy Brian.
I've asked several times. Don't even give me proof. Show me theoretically how this would happen. Walk me through it step by step, how the fraud happens. Tell me how the absentee ballot fraud happens. Tell me how any fraud happens. Just walk me through it step by step, how it works. And every single time it's, yeah, but that's fraud. No,
Fancy
no,
Brian,
actually anything.
Here are 4 questions recommended by Jennifer Rubin to ask any candidate on the Republican side that would, run for office this term. Number 1, do you regret peddling a lie about elections that has since been entirely debunked? Huh? Do you? Any shame, Republicans? Number 2, if the answer is no, why do you support a lie that every court and election audit has rejected and that almost everyone in the Trump White House acknowledged was nonsense or malarkey or worse? Oh, that's a good second one. How about number 3 from Jennifer Rubin? If you believe the loony claims advanced by a few Trump officials, how are voters supposed to trust you with important decisions? If you are, what Bill Barr say about Donald Trump? If you're so separated from reality, if you're so delusional that you still believe the big lie, despite all the court rulings, all the proof, all the audits, why should we trust you with any position, including dog catcher? Dogs deserve better. Dogs are better than most humans I know. A little bit more. One last one from Rubin's piece. And then the fine stylings and editorialization of Dr. Harvey Kaye's co-devil and next. But Rubin's fourth question for all GOP candidates. Are you a patsy for conspiracy theories? ? Or are you knowingly lying to the public? Which is it? Are you a moron or a liar? Because if you're still telling the lies, you're either dumb or you know what you're doing. And, a lot of grifting going on. There's a lot of money and lying to the Republican base about the big lie. They're fundraising, they're campaigning, it's driving the engagement levels. But you can't do so without any consequence. Now, I know, Vance Bryan, I can't go on Fox News and speak profanely without consequence. They're not going to invite me back on Fox News. But I got to tell you, if you want to run for public office, you're going to be able to answer questions publicly from guys like yours truly. So when I see out there this summer on the campaign trail, guys like Ron Johnson, I'm going to ask you, Ron, are you a patsy for conspiracy theories or are you knowingly lying to the public? Can it be both? Dr. Harvey Kaye joins me next. More Devil's Advocates.
You are either lying or you're stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
Let's have trial by combat.
Here we are, the young contender, scrappy, controversial, has an impressive reach. Devil Radio 92.7.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Listen to Devil Radio 92.7 and WTTN 1580 AM, Madison's home for progressive news talk radio, bringing you a lineup of live talk radio every single weekday. Tune in for Dueling Tangents with Luke and Brian every afternoon from 2 to 3 p.m. for Wisconsin news and a tangent or two. The Devil's Advocates radio show is live every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. Still the greatest radio show ever. Always streaming at devilradio927.com.
Listen to the Empowered Caregiver Show each Saturday and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. with hosts Liza Hellenbrand and Kristen Voss.
Right here on Devil Radio 92.7, WTTN 1580 AM, and the Devil Radio
Hello, Professor. How are you?
Okay, can you tell? I'm going to turn on a fan. It's hot as can be up here. Tell me if it's disruptive, okay? Is that affecting sound? It's okay? Come on. Okay.
Professor, can you talk a little bit just real quick here?
Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Okay. Gotcha.
The fan's okay?
Oh, yeah, you're totally fine.
Men's and women's basketball teams are scheduled to play a doubleheader at American Family Field on November 11th for the first time in the stadium's history. The UW men are set to face Stanford, with the women set to face Kansas State in the Aurora Healthcare Brew City Battle. Tickets are set to go on sale on July 26th. Emergency response teams are back on Milwaukee's South Side today, resuming their search for a child and 2 men who have been missing since they were swept into the storm drain during yesterday's storms. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition. We welcome back a fine guest. He's the returning champion. He's Dr. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Harvey, you're one of my favorite radio buddies, man. Always great when you come around. Thanks for doing so.
It's good to see you. It's awfully, I'm sure it's hot down there if it's hot up here. And I'm very sorry to hear about the storms you folks had. We had storms, but nothing, I think, on the scale that you've had. But it was so hot when I came up here to work at the computer that I couldn't put on my baseball cap or Packers cap to join you. I apologize.
Come on, man. A couple of homers like us, we always got to wear it. The weather here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin, 96 degrees.
Today is 96.
Right now, it's 96 degrees.
That's coming up north by tomorrow. Today they gave us a break. We're more like 85, but it's just a hot and humid 85, which I feel for you, really do.
Well, you know, quite frankly, we survived the storms. We'll survive the heat. I try not to complain about the summer heat because the winter is what kills me, man. I've been living in Wisconsin like 50 of my 52 years. Ultimately, what can I say? We chose this place to live.
Well, here's a thought. When it's cold, you can add layers of clothing. When it's hot, if you're outside, there's only so many layers you can take off, and then there ain't nothing left, you know?
Oh, I'm like the dogs. I just lay in the shade.
Well, by the way, I don't want to let the question of heat get by. I want to congratulate you on the heat that you brought to Fox the other evening, and it hit Twitter, and we loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it you know, I'm something of a media whore, and I've always answered the call. You know, you ask me to come and be on your show, be on your whatever. I always try to say yes. I mean, hell, just short of weddings and bar mitzvahs. But you know, I've always said yes to Fox News, and you know, I've been threatening to the audience for a long time, Harvey. I've been threatening. You know, next time they ask, I'm just going to go and burn it up. I'm going to be smug. I'm going to, you know, attack the network if appropriate. And there were a couple of times. Last time I was on, just barely a month ago, the disinformation boards. And I was so willing and ready to call Fox News a disinformation network. And then moments before we went on the air, they took the whole interview a different direction. That's the most frustrating part is, you know, they don't want you to be well prepared. They want you to be just a little uneasy. You cannot see the host. You cannot see your other panelists. You're sitting in a dark studio, bright lights on your face. Joe Biden's policies suck. Defend him, Crudy. You know, and at some point you just think to yourself, And I mean, literally, it was 2 birthdays in a row, Harvey. I got invited on Fox 2 birthdays in a row. My last vacation out of town, so I try to say yes, but I got together with Dominic and my college buddies the last time I was on, like the April for the NFL draft. Couldn't even enjoy the weekend. So, every time I go on, I'm a little hungover. I'm usually a little angry, and I just took it out on the Fox News panelists.
Well, I have to tell you,
of live J6 coverage, was malarkey in my opinion.
I first I want to make a remark, and then I'm going to tell you a story to not to match, but to encourage you.
I love a story on the radio.
So first I'm going to tell you that I'm going to sympathize with you, that I understand now they won't be giving you the $10,000 a month retainer check to show up once a month, right?
Oh,
Fox News
contributor? No, that seems so unlikely.
No, of course, right.
They couldn't afford me.
Okay, but here's the story. 8 years ago, around this season, somewhere between Mother's Day and Father's Day, it was 8 years ago, when my book, The Fight for the Four Freedoms, What Made FDR and the Greatest Generation Truly Great, I got an invitation to go on Fox Business News with the midday guy, Stuart Varney.
Oh, sure.
The guy with the English accent. And this is a bit of a story. I hope you don't mind. So here's the deal. I said, sure. I thought, why not? And they had what seemed to me very decent thing. The producers actually sent me the questions that he had hoped to speak to me, would ask me about.
And they got the Donna Brazil treatment.
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, they were really good questions, and I kind of worked through them in my head. And then I went in, and I even think my publisher flew me into New York to be in studio for the event.
Oh, yeah. Big shot.
Yeah, big shot is right. Yeah. There's another word that starts with SH and ends in T, but we won't go there right now. Okay. So I go to the studio, which is actually just across the street in sort of the Rockefeller Center area from where my publishers, Simon & Schuster, are. And I was in the green room, and then I was in the makeup room, and then I walked in to Stuart Varney at the desk, and I had Googled him because I wanted to know something about him. And it turned out that both he and I, around the same time, had been at the London School of Economics. He's English, and I was over as a graduate student. And then it turned out that he was now living in New Jersey. We were about the same age, as a matter of fact. So when I sat down before we began the broadcast, he said, "So how are you?" I said, "I'm really excited to be here." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Why shouldn't I be? We're about the same age. We were both at the London School of Economics." Well, those were back in the commie days of the London School of This is, I could see that he was really ready to go. So when it started, first they were making comments about the Pope, talking about inequality. Then they were talking about the taxes in New York under de Blasio. I mean, it's this kind of stuff. So and then he turns to me and he says, you like de Blasio and Warren and these kind of folks. He said, "Tell me, what do you think would be a fair tax rate here in New York City?" Which, by the way, had nothing at all to do with what I was supposed to be doing there. So I said, "Well, you guys have a lot of really great public services. I imagine it's worthwhile to pay high taxes. Give me a number," he said. For 5 minutes, he harangued, and for 5 minutes, I basically stonewalled. And I could hear the producer in my ear, because of those things they put in your ear, say, "You got to make this guy speak. He's embarrassing you," is that kind of stuff. So at the end of the 5 minutes, that was it. They were not going to keep me on for 10 minutes. So I got up to leave, and a woman and another guy as his sidekick, she came running down the hall near the studio and said, "You got to give him a number. If you give him a number of what the tax rate would be, we'll have you back on the show on a regular basis." And I said, "WTF, why would I want to be back on this show? You guys are worthless." So when I saw that you had done that, I thought that is really good. I wish I had been that good on Fox Business News.
It's funny. I'll tell one last out of school story, and then we'll move on to politics. The earned income tax credit, when the Pope was talking about the inequality in the world. I had U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin on the show one day, and a good progressive from Wisconsin, one of our favorites, my senator. The other one I claim a little less, talking about Ron Johnson.
Well, the other senator is not mine either. So just for the record.
Nobody's senator in this panel. But anyway, so I asked Tammy Baldwin, I said, Tammy, you know, you and Donald Trump and the Pope all think we should close the earned income tax loophole. And she had a good giggle out of it. And then she said, yeah, I believe it. And Trump believes it. And, you know, the Pope talked about inequality. So anyways, that was one of the specific policies. I got her PolitiFacted over it. Poor Tammy Baldwin gets PolitiFacted on whether or not the Pope's for an earned income tax credit, because Crudy's being a smartass with her, as I occasionally am.
Well, I will tell you this. I actually posted the video of Varney and me battling it out on YouTube. And I was getting literally practically dunned by Fox businesses saying that I had to take it down. And I said, wait a minute, you always post your videos. This is the only video in weeks that you have not posted. Did I really embarrass your host that much? And they went on and on and on. I never took it down. It's still there. Sometime I'll send it to you.
Well, that's funny. I never thought there'd be any chance that they would post the video of me and Mike Emanuel going round and round, but they did.
But did your family tape it for you?
My son had, and my wife actually was so embarrassed by the fact she doesn't like contention. You know, like if me and the kids are arguing politics. I got a 15-year-old who, you know, I like the fact we're now going to we argue politics. She doesn't like the contentiousness. So when I started fighting back, she got a little embarrassed and left the room. She didn't even have any idea what I had said until I came home and I told her, and she's like, "Oh no."
Well, that's funny. My wife taped it, my wife taped it, and that's how we were able to post it. The other thing was, when I came out, the publicist that I worked with at the publishing house said, "Oh, I feel so bad that I set you up for that." I said, "Don't feel bad. I feel bad that I actually took them seriously when they sent me the questions. I'm the idiot. I'm the fool, not you and not them. I'm the fool."
Did they ask you for talking points? Because Fox News always asked me for talking points.
No, it was obvious. One of the seriously, one of the producers must have read the book. The questions they asked in their to prepare me. Yeah. Man, I thought they were great. And by the way, that's the other funny part. All of the questions that they asked while we were arguing were actually being streamed under the screen. You know how Fox and those places have all this streaming stuff underneath? Mm-hmm. Mike, the questions they were supposed to ask me were streaming underneath. It was a farce, truly a farce.
Well, let's not make this fine show a farce. My fine guest, he is Dr. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and we could swap radio and TV stories all day. But let's talk about politics. Sure. And let's talk about inflation for just a minute. Man, every time a righty calls, Joe Biden, gas prices. Well, obviously, we're all affected by gas prices. We know the gas prices, I believe, national average, $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
But we don't talk much about, the gouging going on, or the fact that Republicans are intransigent. They don't want to solve this problem. They just want to blame it on Joe Biden. So let's start there. How did the Dems talk about inflation, be reasonable, have a thoughtful conversation when you're arguing with less than thoughtful people?
Yeah, I don't think I'd bother with the thoughtful conversation, frankly. I would tell the Dems, you can imagine what I would tell the Dems. I'd tell the Dems to hold daily news briefings in which they talk about gouging. They can readily explain supply chains are what they are. And by the way, they should make it clear the supply chain problem is because of corporate change. The corporations, by the way, over the many 30 past years, they went to that, what is it called? Order on time or something like that, where they don't stop.
Logistics. It's logistics.
Logistics. Right. In other words, they need the orders to demand the product from their factories. And thus, they expect everything to move at a quick pace to, all the stores from Walmart to Kmart, Target, whatever the store might be. Well, the fact is that they didn't expect this kind of stuff. And so what they've done is they have failed to be ready. And seriously speaking, I think probably Biden should talk about some kind of executive order where we could, maybe we could nationalize the oil companies for about 3 months, we could send in federal regulators right into the oil company offices. And maybe we should do a whole series of initiatives that would literally point the finger in the direction that it ought to be pointed, to the big corporations, oil companies and others. That's what, look, seriously speaking, I think
the sovereign nations that are the big oil producers, there's new reporting at Fortune magazine. Donald Trump made a deal with MBS from the Saudi prince, made a deal with the Russians, and he was seeking to have them cut production like 10 million barrels a day. And he bragged about it via Twitter before the deal was public. He's out there bragging about it because, he can't keep his mouth shut. But he was effectively tampering with the oil prices, cutting the world supply. And, you also look at the actions of the oil companies. Well, there's been different oil crashes, and they don't want to drill more wells unless it's very profitable for them to do so. So suddenly we have a supply side problem, and that's Joe Biden's fault.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it, Harvey.
We will, I'm sure.
Back. Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates. I didn't mean to throw so many rando thoughts at you, Harvey. We'll come back, give you a chance to respond. The Devil's Advocates radio show. Harvey, I know it's Tuesday. This feels like Thursday or Friday already.
Yes, it does.
Monday was like 4 days long.
I know. I know.
Buddy, we'll survive. We'll make it to the weekend. I always
bet.
More Devil's Advocates, more with Dr. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. He's a great radio buddy and a fine guest. We're going to talk about an economic bill of rights when we return.
This is a house of learned doctors.
The time. At least safe for retirement. Go to aceyourretirement.org, and in just 3 minutes, you'll get free tips to help boost your retirement savings. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Cardall put out these weird, sad videos interviewing incapacitated elders in their nursing homes that don't have the ability to say, don't use me as your political prop.
If they are what you say they are, then you shouldn't be doing it how you did it.
Yes, it was the kids using the parents as props. Well, my old man hasn't talked since 76. Of course, he would have voted for Trump. That's the evidence. Videos. People that can't talk.
It is wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
Check out the entire podcast library at darnwi.com.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad at the Monaco Brewing Company, and I am proud to introduce you to Choice, our new pink grapefruit flavored hard seltzer. Choice was made in collaboration with Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, and 5% of the proceeds from every can goes to support them and their fight for reproductive freedom. Choice hard seltzer tastes great and comes in at only 105 calories per can. Go to our website, monacobrewingcompany.com, to find where you can buy Choice hard seltzer.
What grows in the forest? Our imagination and our family bonds. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition. A fine guest, Dr. Harvey Kaye, joins me live via Zoom. And Dr. Kaye, I know one of your big issues, economic bill of rights. I know you've been advocating for it. I know you've been pushing lawmakers to advocate on this issue. Well, how's the fight going, Harvey?
Okay, well, I want to remind everyone that Francesca Hong from Madison, state assemblywoman, and Christina Shelton, my state assemblywoman from up here in Green Bay, actually in my assembly district, they have presented, which will not get the attention, obviously, it deserves, because the Republicans wouldn't dare allow the debate on any kind of progressive issue. But they have presented a Wisconsin Economic Justice Bill of Rights to the Wisconsin Democratic Party and to basically the public. And and that was, to me, a really important move. It will garner support, and in the future, maybe we can fight openly for it. But what was interesting is we've been promoting this on shows around the country, and my co-author and I, Alan Minsky of Progressive Democrats of America, that is, and I can't remember which day it was, but during the last week or so, the Massachusetts Democratic Party held their state convention. And at that convention, one of the delegates, well-placed delegate, actually introduced our economic Bill of Rights, specifically to the Massachusetts delegates, Democratic Party delegates. And 97% of the delegates voted in favor of endorsing the economic Bill of Rights.
I'd call that a modest majority.
A modest majority. Now, let's not forget, for what it's worth, that although it began as a rebellion, it didn't become a revolution until Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense. The fact is that the rebellion that did become a revolution began in Massachusetts on a broad scale in Boston and across the state of Massachusetts. So what I'm hoping is that since the Democratic Party in Massachusetts has embraced this, that maybe this is the beginning of a 21st century social democratic revolution in America, where we can finally pursue the kinds of initiatives that Franklin Roosevelt proposed in 1944 and that 85% of Americans wanted, including guaranteed national health care, including public education as far as students could pursue it without having to pay tuition for it, a guarantee of comfortable housing, a guarantee of a right to a job at a living wage. I mean, I think there's things happening. I'll also tell you that wherever we have gone with the show, whatever shows we've gone to, the Economic Bill of Rights has had a remarkable response. And we've even been told that folks out in rural Wisconsin, when they hear about this kind of thing, don't necessarily blanch. They don't necessarily get upset, especially when people have also mentioned the possibility of enhancing farmers' lives. I mean, there's something going on. And I can tell you that I was extremely pleased when you had on I heard you interview Alex Lasry and Mandela Barnes and ask them, what did they think? Mandela Barnes vaguely endorsed it. Finally, by the way, on his website, there's a little more attention to the issues from an economic Bill of Rights kind of perspective. Alex Lasry, amazingly so, also did so, but then issued, as you know, a workers' Bill of Rights during the last 2 weeks, which is a very welcome thing. It could be stronger, but it is a very important move. And of course, Tom Nelson, months ago, it seems like months ago at least, immediately embraced and endorsed the idea of the Wisconsin Economic Bill of Rights and the national 21st century Economic Bill of Rights that we've proposed. So at least here in Wisconsin, there is progressive movement on this, and I'm hoping that we can see all the more movement, because I could tell you, if progressives ever want to take back the state of Wisconsin, the idea, the promise, the project of an Economic Bill of Rights is the way to do it.
Dr. Harvey Kaye, Alex Lasry, and you referenced some fine U.S. senatorial candidates. They're all Dems. They're all hoping to face off against Ron Johnson in the fall. We have our primary here in the state of Wisconsin, August 9th. So when you talk about Alex Lasry, when you talk about Tom Nelson, when you talk about Mandela Barnes, well, Mandela is the current lieutenant governor. They're all U.S. senatorial candidates. And we would also throw Sarah Godlewski in that top tier mix. And then there's like half a dozen others. But the workers' Bill of Rights that Alex Lasry rolled out, he is, at least early on, he's gotten the support of labor. He was part of the team that built the FISERV Forum, and he worked closely with labor. And labor has a real affinity for this candidate. I know Mandela got a couple of labor endorsements this week, but with the spending that Lasry's done, he's number 2 in this race with a bullet by all appearances. So are you encouraged? I know you said you wish it was more, but this taking it from a labor first perspective, what do you think about that, Harvey?
Well, I as a labor unionist, a retired labor unionist, I'm still with the American Federation of Teachers here in Wisconsin. I welcome the fact that Alex Lasry and to a lesser extent, but decidedly Alex Lasry and Tom Nelson, who has turned out regularly in support of workers who are on strike or protesting the loss of jobs. I think it's great. And I think people should remember that Wisconsin has a proud labor tradition. I happen to be one of the founders back in 1980 of the Wisconsin Labor History Society, and I've served on the board ever since. And for those of you in the Milwaukee area or Waukesha, please pay attention every year around May 1st, May 3rd, in that period, on a Sunday, we hold a major event in Bayview to honor the Bayview tragedy. Some call it the Bayview Massacre, which workers were struggling for the 8-hour day, and a governor of the state called out the national, what was then the National Guard, and they ended up firing upon those workers, killing quite a few people, both marchers and civilians, you might call them, on the side in their own yards. But it is the case that it is great to see this campaign involve the labor question.
Can the Democrats be the party of labor? Harvey, we're down to like last 90 seconds. Tell me, how did the Dems win back the working stiff?
They can win back the work. I can't use that word, working stiff. The working men and women, they can win back those votes by standing up not only to the Republicans, but to the corporations that threaten to crush the organizing in Amazon warehouses and Starbucks coffee shops. Show that they stand behind workers' democratic aspirations.
Now, I've recently heard Republicans starting to claim that they're the working man's party. Could you ever imagine that would be the case, Harvey?
Only in the wake of 45 years in which the Democrats turned their backs on workers, and workers were willing to turn to the Republicans because they felt betrayed by Democrats. And basically, the Republicans also enhanced their standing with culture war activities. You want to win back the working class? Don't fight the culture wars, Democrats. Please fight the economic wars.
Well, Harvey will try to follow that sound advice, although I often leave good advice unheeded. Dr. Harvey Kaye, a fine guest, Dr. Emeritus, Professor Emeritus, my bad, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Always appreciate coming around here.
I want to see a Brewers comeback.
Well, we lost 8 straight, but now we won a couple. So, more Devils. We don't talk about the Brewers. Might be a day game.
We're here today to celebrate the dignity of work. You're going to be dead.
Thank you.
Listen to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM, Waukesha's only news talk radio station. The Devil's Advocates Radio Show is live every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. Join Native Roots Radio from 6 to 7 p.m. for updates about Native news, culture, and activism. The 7 o'clock hour is for local programming, including the Paul Revere Show on Mondays, Busted Pencils on Tuesdays, and the Up North Podcast on Wednesdays. Always streaming at WAUKradio.com.
Local older adults are in need of support through caring community volunteers. Help someone get to their medical appointment or grocery store, or lend a helping hand by providing seasonal yard cleanup support in the spring and fall. Volunteer with ERAS Senior Network by calling 262-549-3348 or visit www.eras.org. That's 262-549-3348 or www.eras.org.
You are listening to WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W226DR Waukesha, always streaming at WAUK Radio. The Shaw 101 FM, Franklin's choice for news talk radio. Streaming 24/7 at WAUKradio.com.
This is Norm from Martha Merrill Books in downtown Waukesha, 231 West Main Street. We've been in business now almost 28 years. We're the book detectives. We can find adult and children's books, even if they're out of print. If we can't find it, it's probably not available. At Martha Merrill's, we specialize in unique gifts. We sell puppets and stuffed animals, but we don't sell watches because we're timeless. We do gift wrapping. When you walk out of the store, you have a present ready. Martha Merrill Books, 231 West Main Street.
Decorating your home is personal. You want your place to be unique. That's why you should check out Art and Framing 123 in downtown Waukesha. Discover home decor items from treasury hunter Ramona and original artwork by D.E., also known as Friday Night Live artist Dan Ang. Art and Framing 123 has a custom framing service for your diplomas, posters, Packer certificates, images on canvas, photos, and more. Art and Framing 123, 311 West Main across from the hotel. Let them know you heard about them on the Shaw.
WAUK and the Shaw are the new kids on the radio block, and that block happens to be on Wisconsin Ave, Waukesha. Now is a great time to advertise locally with 540 AM and the Shaw 101 FM. While the ads are inexpensive and the audience is rapidly growing. Sponsorships available for This Week in Waukesha, Raised in the Shaw, or live local music on the weekends. Spring packages starting at just $495 a month. Get started today by emailing info@WAUKradio.com.
Bringing some sanity to the airwaves. The Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM.
For the Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM.
Oh, you're checked. Oh, you're so checked. You're
Right
so
on, man.
checked. You're checked like you're checkered.
Check.
Happy checkered birthday.
Check.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Happy checkered birthday.
Check. Oh, thanks, man.
Starting at 9 a.m.
Check.
today
1,
at the
2.
Hyatt
How's your
Pharmacy,
girl?
807 West.
She's good.
Good.
Had the equivalent of 2 stitches, but they sewed it with their hair and glue.
Yeah, the glue. Yeah.
But she's all right.
She got a hard melon like her old man. Glad to hear it, man.
What?
What?
From 11 a.m. today to 8 p.m. Wednesday, and an expected high of 93 degrees. A few clouds overnight with winds up to 20 miles per hour and a nightly low of 74 degrees. You're listening to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM.
Live programming for WAUK Radio 540 AM and 101 FM is produced right in the Shaw in beautiful downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. Is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition, my little buddy's birthday edition, the Friday edition. How you doing, birthday boy?
Awesome, Crudy. Thank you, Fancy Brian Evan. Good to see you guys. Of course, our fair audience. Thank you for all the birthday wishes today. 51 years old. I'm solidly in the 50s camp. It's a little hard to believe. And unfortunately, yesterday, last night after the show, I went and got my my second booster. My arm's a little sore. I'm a little bit tired, but you know, I am a professional. I will muscle on through.
And go out drinking, I suspect. You're going out tonight, right?
Having a little family party, so I'll have some cocktails at the house with some dinner and some cake and some fun. It'll be a good time. And then probably tomorrow, and then the next night, and the next night, I'll catch up.
And you know, June is party month. June is birthday month, right?
Birthday month, right? Exactly.
So, anyways, lots of partying to look forward to. You can always join this political party. Got Evan in the world headquarters, lightly screening your calls, 844-96-PARTY. So, Dom, being it's your birthday, I started the day by talking about the Saturday Night Massacre that almost was. The coup plotter / environmental lawyer, Jeffrey Clark.
We'll call you when there's an oil spill, buddy.
But Dom,
stay in your lane.
Where do you want to start today?
Well, I think
let me.
Yes, go ahead.
One moment longer. Let me thank my most recent guest, a fine co-devil, Dr. Harvey Kaye. Harvey came around talking economic Bill of Rights, and we swapped some war stories. So we had a good time with Harvey.
Love it when Harvey comes around. He's a cool cat. This Clark thing. Let's start with this. January 6th committee hearing tomorrow.
No.
Canceled.
Not going to happen tomorrow.
Yes, not going to happen tomorrow. Hill's
I thought tomorrow
well.
was supposed to be the Department of Justice officials, or maybe that was Thursday's plan. But what happened? What's the breaking down?
Here is what the Hill is saying. The House Committee investigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol postponed its Wednesday hearing, slated to review former President Trump's efforts to pressure the Justice Department to investigate his unfounded claims of election fraud. In an advisory, the committee said its scheduled hearing on Thursday would still take place, but provided no other details. Former acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, his deputy Richard Donahue, and Stephen Ingle, then the head of the Office of Legal Counsel, were all expected to appear before the committee on Wednesday. Zoe Lofgren, who did a fantastic job yesterday, said this: "There's no big deal, but I'll tell you, putting together the video and exhibits is an exhausting exercise for a very small video staff. I mean, come on, hire some more folks." So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 in 1 week, and it's just too much to put it all together. So we're trying to give them a little room to do their technical work is mainly it.
You never give the staff a break, man. You just push on, right, Fancy Brian? You just
yeah.
I can give you 2 hours to get that 22 hours worth of work done. Is that going to give you enough time?
Luckily, it's only one of 15 jobs.
Yeah, exactly. The delay in the third hearing could disrupt the storyline arc the committee planned to lay out over 7 hearings, while Thursday's hearings will continue as planned. It's not clear the panel will stick with its original plan, dedicating to reviewing the pressure placed on Vice President Mike Pence. So that will be for Thursday. So tomorrow was supposed to be the DOJ, right? And then Thursday will be Pence. So we're still trying to get an understanding of what's going on. But unfortunately, right now, we will not be hearing from the committee tomorrow. But I got to wonder, given all the news out now, like today, and I know you touched on it, and there's some detailed reporting at the Washington Post on this as well, about Jeffrey Clark and his interactions and going to Trump and getting admonished by the DOJ and going back to Trump and trying to convince him, and whether or not that the detail will come out. But they're in the hearing. Now, the reporting seems fairly extensive to me. It seems very specific and fairly extensive to me. So I'd love to see some testimony on that. I'd love to hear from the DOJ and those particular players from their own lips about how all this went down. And the reporting is good, but it's nothing like hearing it from the DOJ, the former DOJ officials themselves.
Well, Dominic, I've got some new reporting, and it's, regarding legal people, sort of. Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
There's some breaking about Rudy Giuliani. He is strongly denying that he was drunk as a skunk on the election night.
Is it? And while it's amusing, as a guy who drinks alcohol myself, so what? If the guy was drunk or not drunk, he was inebriated, not inebriated, he was taking pills, he was doing blow. Who freaking cares? What matters is, why is this guy in the room? And I saw this tweet you sent out,
a trusted
Brian.
advisor to the former president.
Come on, man. Jeff Tiedrich. Hard to believe that the guy who went broke running casinos took advice from the drunkest guy in the room. Well, it's actually not hard to believe, and it's kind of par for the course, right? I mean, he was saying something that Trump wanted to hear. We know Trump likes to hear things he wants to hear. Whether or not he was drunk or not is really, it's a sideshow. And while I do find it a little amusing, I totally believe the man was sloshed. But it's irrelevant to the fact. Whether or not Trump listened to a drunk maniac or just a maniac, Trump still did what Trump did. Rudy still did what Rudy did. So what?
Prior
Ask the Navy man if you'll have another drink.
prior reporting was that Rudy could have been the Attorney General of the great United States of America, but was perceived by Trump to be a drunkard. That was prior reporting. Here's the newest from Rudy. I am disgusted, and I can't do the Sylvester voice he kind of talks in. I am disgusted and outraged at the outright lie by Jason Miller and Bill Stepien, although he misspelled Stepien. That's the former Trump campaign manager. I was upset that they were not prepared for the massive cheating, as well as the other lawyers who run the president. I refused all alcohol that evening. My favorite drink, Diet Pepsi. He claims he was just guzzling Diet Pepsis. However, Giuliani found little support for his defense. Let's not forget, there was multiple people that testified Rudy was drunk as a skunk. I mean, that's kind of how they started the hearings.
I'm not an expert on the facts yet. I'm getting there.
Someone puts up absolutely sober hat on Twitter, writes, always talk to a lawyer before you publicly repudiate a potentially helpful defense like, I was extremely drunk and therefore couldn't form specific intent. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There goes that defense.
And of course, what he's effectively doing is he's accusing the witnesses of perjury. They're giving testimony under oath. Now, Rudy
you can
is
give testimony and say it is my opinion that Rudy was drunk as a skunk. It doesn't mean you're lying. It's your opinion that Rudy was drunk. And we will never know he said, she said. But if enough people in the room are saying the man was hammered, the guy was probably hammered.
Well, here's one more. I'll be your sponsor, little buddy. Let's go to a meeting. Tweeting at Rudy. I'll be your sponsor, little buddy.
Rudy, according to Aaron Blake, who tweeted out, Rudy Giuliani retweeted somebody else who posted the New York Post article that the Miller, an ex-Trump staffer, accused of slipping abortion pill into his girlfriend's drink. So here we have some more right-on-right violence, right? I mean, so I don't. That's fine with me. Let throw them all in the ring and let them eat each other up. That is totally fine with me. What really matters is what was the intent? What is the degree of the conspiracy? And who are we going to hold responsible for this coup? That's what I care about. I don't care about anybody's sobriety. I don't give a damn about anybody's sobriety. It has nothing to do. You could be drunk and rob a bank and be sober, rob a bank. You still robbed a bank.
Rudy says if you're going to throw him in this pit of despair you describe, he's going to need a roadie.
Rudy's roadie, man. We got a new beer for our friends over in Minocqua.
Rudy's roadie. 844-967-2789.
It's made with malt liquor.
Against my better judgment, like taking advice from Rudy Giuliani. CJ on the phones. How you doing, CJ?
Hey, CJ.
Howdy, guys. Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
You're like that shot of Everclear. I know better, but I still gut you down, CJ.
Well, every time you need a good cleansing, Rudy. The facts
just
are,
like an enema, CJ. Go ahead, man.
The facts are we're living in a Democrat world, and things are going so well that even the extremist, liberal, progressive, communist AOC says Biden shouldn't run.
That's not what she said.
Commander cut and run and do nothing vice president. We're watching. We've got candidates running for governor that helped get Trump elected the first time. And what is
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
I don't know
CJ.
either, dude. What are you talking about?
What gubernatorial candidates that helped Trump get elected?
Hey, let me CJ, let me throw this one out there. Let's talk about briefly, the big lie here. CJ, do you regret peddling a lie about elections that has since been entirely debunked?
I don't think they've been peddling, or I've been peddling a lie.
Do you regret being a patsy for conspiracy theory, CJ?
Do I have a what?
Do you regret being a patsy for conspiracy theory, CJ?
I'm not a patsy. I think all the, whether Trump, I love his policies. You guys can go on and on and on, like November 6th committee. We haven't learned anything new. You know that Bill Barr said he did nothing criminal. Why don't you play that tape?
Nothing criminal,
Bill Barr
CJ. I don't recall him saying that either. Man, what is your source? Your butt is not a good source. Although that seems to be your primary one. I prefer the raw story. Come back with us. Always the finest of sources. I might even quote the Washington Post and Max Boot. I thought the January 6th committee wouldn't matter. I was wrong. Dominic often is, except on his birthday. And we pretend like he's got it 63% right. Thanks, Mike. You less so, CJ.
It's 2-0.
Go to hell, you old bastard.
Hi, it's Rudy Giuliani, and I'm on Cameo.
I'm an old man. I'm confused.
I'm too old for this shit.
Excuse me, pardon?
Getting lost in a city you always wanted to visit.
Pardon, madame. Pardon? S'il vous plaît. Je cherche un restaurant. Merci.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed.
This is so cool.
Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
The plaintiff, Donald J. Trump, hereby serves his suit against the defendants, Hillary Clinton and her cohorts, orchestrated an unthinkable plot, one that shocks the conscience and is in the front of the nation's democracy. This week on Fox. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing a few too many adverbs and adjectives in this sentence.
One man, one mission Donald Trump gets made fun of. This is Watergate 2.
Making radio great again.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
I'd just like to say this gig sucks.
Hey, up yours, Springfield.
1, 2, 3, 4. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Go to hell, you old bastard.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Thank you for that. It is my birthday. I appreciate it very much. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I wanted to get to a little opinion piece. Max Boot, the January 6th committee, according to Max Boot, he didn't think it would matter. I was
Max
wrong.
Boot is a conservative commentator at the
like
Washington
Jennifer
Post.
Rubin, they used to label him as a conservative, but being an anti-Trumper kind of puts you in a whole different category. Now he's just columnist.
Well, now he's a Marxist, right? According to the megas, but probably still a conservative, whatever that meant back in the day.
Tax cuts for rich people.
right. Pretty much. That's about it.
844-967-2789. Your participation always appreciated, especially on a Tuesday. It should be like midweek at least. But anyways, Max Boot said this. I admit to having been skeptical ahead of time of the hearings planned by the House Select Committee investigating the events of January 6, 2021. What more is there to be said, I wondered. The evidence of Donald Trump's guilt in inciting an insurrection was already so obvious that it was hard to imagine that the committee would have much to add. This was not, after all, a situation such as Watergate, where the scandal happened behind closed doors. The entire nation saw Trump's incendiary remarks and tweets and the riot that followed on national TV. And I'm happy to say, according to Max Boot, I was wrong. Words Crudy has never had to utter on behalf of himself.
Right.
The committee's, it's hard for me to even move on without a chuckle. The committee's hearings are exceeding expectations because it is not behaving like a typical congressional committee. There's no grandstanding, there's no preening, and there's no petty partisan squabbles. In other words, no Jim Jordan in the room. There's not even disjointedness that normally occurs when a bunch of politicians are each given 5 minutes to question each witness. There is only the relentless march of evidence, all of it's deeply incriminating to a certain former president who keeps insisting he was robbed of his rightful election victory. The committee's recent hearings, Dominic, there have been 2 in the past week, with more planned, have been organized like carefully choreographed television productions. Don't tell Fox News. Look at real butthurt. And I mean, that is a compliment. The committee has been focused on doing what all good television productions, whether factual or fictional, do, telling a story that enthralls the viewer. And only a few of the committee members have spoken so far. Imagine what heroic self-restraint it takes for elected officials to understand that they can make a greater impact with their silence than with their noisy blather. I've never found that to be the case, personally. No. The members are allowing their staffers to play an unusually prominent role, not only in questioning witnesses on tape, but acting as narrators for the mini documentaries laying out what they found. The biggest complaint against the committee, heard at ever increasing decibels from Republicans, is it's a partisan head job. And never mind, the 2 prominent Republicans sit on the committee, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, are denigrated as rhinos because they have had the courage to act on House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's convictions.
Right.
Here it says in parentheticals, McCarthy initially held Trump responsible for the mob attack, but he voted against impeaching him. Felt like it was imprudent, the impeachment thing.
Max Boot goes on to write at the Washington Post, accusations of partisanship have been amply refuted by the hearings, which have been entirely factual and notably free of partisan rancor. There have been no anti-Trump, much less anti-Republican rants. The committee members are focused with forensic, factual intensity on the question of Trump's responsibility for the events of January 6th. They are making a case beyond any reasonable doubt in the court of public opinion, even if it remains to be seen whether there is sufficient evidence to indict Trump in an actual court of law. The committee's most potent weapon is the words of Trump's own aides. One after another, we have heard Trump loyalists say that the election was fair and that Trump has no rational basis for thinking otherwise. Last week's star witness was Ivanka Trump, who testified that she accepted then Attorney General Barr's conclusion that her father lost the election.
That one had a sting worse than damn near anything else you could possibly do.
Well, the old man, then insulted her by just saying, she checked out. What
Ivanka Trump checked out.
Yeah. Barr goes on that this led the former president to go on a public rant against his own daughter, claiming that she was not involved in looking at or studying election results. The implication is that if only Ivanka had been as deep in the weeds as dear old dad, she would have been convinced that the vote was the crime of the century. Except that the committee has now heard from many Trump aides who were deeply involved in the vote count, and they also concluded there was no significant fraud. The only people who thought otherwise were weirdos like Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani.
I prefer drunken weirdos.
Who was described by Trump advisor Jason Miller as being definitely intoxicated on election night. Giuliani denies it. Bill Stepien, Trump's campaign manager, testified that he was part of Team Normal and that Powell, Giuliani, et al. Were on the opposite team. Presumably, that would be Team Crazy. Guess which team Trump was rooting for?
Now, as an aside, Dom, there is reporting that seems to suggest Stepien was actually on Team Coup.
Yeah.
He was on Team Crazy. And the fact, and I'm not going to question the veracity of his wife's labor. She apparently the excuse why he didn't appear yesterday. But let's not pretend like, maybe he was one of the good guys. He was the guardrail. They all want to be the guardrail after the fact.
Yeah, right. The most damaging witness from Trump was his own attorney general. Barr described Trump's election lies as BS, crazy stuff, complete nonsense, and suggested Trump has become detached from reality if he really believes this stuff. Barr's statement was seen by some lawyers as evidence of criminal intent that would be needed to convict Trump of crimes such as sedition. Whether that is accurate or not, Trump's own aides have made an open and shut case that he is not fit to run Mar-a-Lago, much less the United States of America. Either Trump is spectacularly delusional or spectacularly dishonest. Take your choice. Maybe he's both. Whichever the case, he has no business returning to the nation's highest office.
Come back with us. The birthday boy, Fancy Brian, Evan, and you on the phones. 844-96-PARTY.
Well, history is written by the winner, so it largely depends on who's writing the history.
TWTW.
Happily will win.
That's the will to win.
The Shaw 101 FM, your fix for progressive talk. From Muskego to Milwaukee, always streaming at WAUKradio.com.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero
Smart
Ridge.
Asset Realty offers everything necessary to help you successfully evaluate, acquire, and maintain any size property and maximize a property's potential value. Whether it's the first time you are purchasing a house or managing your next apartment complex, we are here to reach your real estate goals. Start investing now. We take the headaches, you keep the profit. Contact us at 262-232-8738 or visit us at smartassetrealty.com.
Se habla español.
Listen to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM, Waukesha's only news talk radio station, bringing you a lineup of live talk radio every single weekday. Start your mornings off with Matt Flynn Direct from 6 to 8 a.m. Then find out what's going on with the Earl Ingram Show every day from 8 to 11. The Tom Hartman program is live middays from 11 to 2, right here on the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
If this framework becomes the actual piece of legislation, it's a step forward on a bipartisan basis.
An FDA advisory panel endorses Moderna's coronavirus vaccine for teens and school-age children. Same panel will meet tomorrow to consider shots from Moderna and Pfizer for the youngest children, those under 5. Fisher-Price federal product safety regulators warn parents not to let their infants fall asleep in the company's rockers after 13 died in the infant to toddler and newborn to toddler rockers between 2009 and 2021. 2 other Fisher-Price infant rockers were previously recalled after 34 infants died in 2019 and 2020. I'm Tim McGuire.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM, I'm Sam Butson with your headlines. The Eau Claire City Council is set to vote on a bottled water company's plans to build a $65 million plant that would draw from the city's water supply later today. Supporters say the facility would provide dozens of good-paying jobs and millions of dollars in tax revenue, while opponents fear it will deplete water resources and increase plastic pollution. If approved, the company would become the city's top water user, drawing 310 million gallons of water each year. Due to the extreme heat wave, Milwaukee Public Schools are closing early today with after-school activities canceled for the afternoon and evening. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner responded to the 100th homicide of the year last night. The victim is a 14-year-old girl, and the Milwaukee police are investigating. Waukesha's Cutler Park is hosting Tribute Tuesday today, celebrating the music of Fleetwood Mac. The concert will take place 7 to 9 p.m. with concessions available beforehand. You're listening to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM.
60% of the time, they're right every time. The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition. Dominic's birthday, kind of thinks he's a big deal, special day, birthday boy, all that.
And I'm working on my birthday, man. Come on.
That is unusual. I mean, in that, it's a rarity to find you working, period.
Let alone in June.
Did you see at thehill.com? And obviously, it's just someone else's reporting there of Donald Trump put out like a 12-page rant last night.
I did see, and I did not read the rant. So
I understand the rant somewhat incriminating. Could be used against him in a court of law, Dom.
Well, and the same thing with Rudy, with his defense of his alleged drunkenness today, still pushing this big lie. Still pushing. I mean, to this day, to this
the big
moment.
lie is that Rudy was sober.
It's hard to say now, man. There's so many lies.
Dominic, let me introduce this, and we will take more of your phone calls. 844-967-2789. TheHill.com reporting. Former President Trump on Monday issued a 12-page sidewinder rebuttal to testimony and evidence presented by the House committee investigating the Capitol riot. The J6 committee, I like to call them, Dom. Here is a little bit from the Trump statement. 17 months after the events of January 6th, Democrats are unable to offer solutions. I got a solution.
Let's stop right there. Right. What exactly are you trying to say there, Trump? I mean, the events of January 6th. You mean the coup that you orchestrated upon this country? They're unable to offer solutions. Well,
no inflation, rising gas prices. Something you can blame on Joe Biden. No solutions.
Is that what it is?
Just
why January 6th? I mean, Trump was still president in January 6th. Why wouldn't it be after Biden's inauguration? If that's what you're saying, why January 6th?
Well, he tells us in his sidewinder of a statement.
Yeah, please inform us.
They are desperate to change the narrative of a failing nation without even making mention of the havoc and death caused by the radical left just months earlier. Havoc and death. Is he talking about the pandemic he ham-handedly allowed 1 million Americans to die from? The COVID pandemic?
Oh, no. The one that he did not lead when he had an actual opportunity to lead and wear a mask and show by example. The one where he had the opportunity to discuss with the American people what he said to Bob Woodward about the severity and danger of this pandemic. No, I'm sure that's a rip on Black Lives Matter.
Make no mistake. They control the government. They own this disaster. They're hoping that these hearings will somehow alter their failing prospects. Now, reading again from the Hill, Dom, the 12-page document underscores how Trump is yet to move on from his false claims of fraud in 2020. And that work, the committee's work, may be central to a potential 2024 campaign. Is he running again, Dom?
No.
Yes, he is. The 12-page doc, he's going to announce in Florida. Can I make that prediction right now? Donald Trump, when he announces his reelective campaign, will go to Ron DeSantis's neighborhood and do it on a street corner. Mark my words. Crudy's often right. Yes, he will.
He's not running, but please continue.
I will continue. One section of Trump's statement focuses on the ballot trafficking claims for which he cites Dinesh D'Souza's documentary, 2,000 Mules. Now, 2,000 Mules got 2 thumbs down for Bill Barr, right?
Yes.
He laughed about it. All of the people in the room laughed about it.
In testimony shown earlier Monday, former Attorney General William Barr laughed at the mention of the film, saying he was unimpressed with it and dismissed the idea that it proved widespread fraud. Now, Dom, another section of this 12-pager asserts that President Biden could not have won the states of Pennsylvania, Arizona, or Georgia because he got more black votes and Hispanic votes than Obama did. Didn't happen. Got more black votes than Obama. Could have happened. Each of those states has performed audits and recounts and found no evidence of widespread fraud. So let me just throw out a concept. Population growth. It's 8 years since Obama was last on the ballot, 2012 to 2020. You know, every 10 years, we redo the census and reapportion the congressional seats because of shifts in the population and population growth. I don't know. I'm just saying, man, just a thought. I know Trump doesn't actually want to get to the facts, but I just thought.
No, Trump was trying to mess with the census as well.
Dom, Trump in one section claimed states such as Pennsylvania and Michigan took additional time after Election Day to count ballots because it was part of an elaborate scheme to ship in fraudulent votes so Biden could erase Trump's narrow leads in those states. You know, ship in votes or count the absentee ballots, as it's sometimes called.
Many from the military, Crudy, but former Fox News editor Chris Steyerwalt testified in person on Monday to dismiss that very theory known as the Red Mirage. He explained that Republicans typically do better on Election Day, while Democrats perform better in early voting. Some states, such as Pennsylvania, do not count early votes or mail-in ballots until Election Day, meaning it takes additional time to finalize the count. And then again, and we have similar, many states have similar laws as to when votes will be counted, and all those laws can be changed. There was an effort to change those laws here in the state of Wisconsin, but the Republicans rejected it. Why? As we talked about yesterday, Crudy, they want to have this talking point to continue the big
Red
lie.
Mirage, red herring for every election forevermore.
Steyerwalt said on Monday, we had gone to pains, and I'm proud of the pains we went to make sure that we were informing viewers that this was going to happen because the Trump campaign and the president had made it clear that they were going to try to exploit this anomaly. The January 6 hearings have shown a number of former Trump aides dismissing the claims of election fraud and insisting that the former president, he did not have a case based on the facts in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Barr testified that he told Trump his claims were BS and referred to them as nonsense and idiotic. In a deposition shown Monday, Barr told the committee he was worried Trump was detached from reality in the weeks after the election, as he claimed without evidence that certain voting machines were designed to cheat. But Trump has repeatedly shown he will not back down from all claims that the 2020 election was stolen, turning it into a major campaign issue for the 2022 midterms and beyond. He has bat candidates who continue to deny that Biden is the legitimately elected president, and he has supported challengers to the Republicans who voted to impeach him over the Capitol riot. As we near the midterm elections, we're watching the swamp creatures circle the drain as true Americans step up to replace the corrupt establishment with patriots who will fight for our freedoms, Trump says in his 12-page statement. Replace, huh? Is that a replacement theory Trump's advocating for there? just not clear.
Let's get to the phones in a moment at 844-967-2789. Hell, I'll hold this thought. Let's go there now. Jack from Milwaukee. Jack or Jake, welcome. What do you got for us?
Good afternoon, you troublemakers, you. Okay. I'd like to ask you a question here, fellas. Do you consider treason a serious crime, or is it just something that you slap somebody on the wrist with?
Well, define treason. I mean, we know about the seditious conspiracy, and we know the coup attempt against the U.S. government, probably directed and perpetrated by the former president. But treason, such a harsh word. That implies to take one's opponent, let's say in a war like Russia, let's say taking Russia's side in a war against the United States. I don't know if treason quite fits the bill.
Oxford.
Sedition!
The crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. Betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow
I have a little
the government.
concern.
Yes.
I've been watching these hearings. Now, believe it or not, the Republican lady is doing a spectacular job.
Liz Cheney. Yes, she is.
Yes. The other two I'm very concerned with. They seem a little lackadaisical. Benny Thomas and who's that? Zoe
Lofgren.
Oh, yeah, I can't pronounce that last name. But anyhow, I'm a little concerned about that. In fact, they're saying that, well, we're going to just listen here, and we're not going to recommend it.
Jack, are you criticizing style points right now?
Pardon?
You're criticizing Lofgren's style points?
No, I think I know what, Jack. I did see some reporting, Jack.
A little more aggressive.
Yeah, let me restate some of the reporting, and I think perhaps what you're being critical of, Jack, is that Lofgren and some of the
got it mixed up, fellas.
Well, that essentially they're not there to prosecute. They can make a referral if they choose to do so after this is all said and done, but that is not their responsibility. It is not their goal. That is not their power to do that, Jack. So I think in this case,
how much evidence do you need?
They could have a video of Trump shooting somebody on. Listen, Jack. They could have a video evidence of Trump.
Rational.
I know, but listen, it's not the point. They could show Trump shooting someone on Fifth Avenue. They don't have the power to indict, to prosecute. That is not their mission. That is not their goal. They couldn't certainly refer that in the Department of Justice. It's up to them ultimately. But that is not why this committee is made up.
Investigatory Committee of Sedition.
And there's plenty of it there.
967-2789. Mark from the SAC, welcome back. What do you got?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, thanks, guys. And CJ could actually stay on topic every once in a while. The whole crap about President cut and run. It was Donald Trump who actually signed the agreement with the Taliban back in 2019 and released the 5,000 terrorists that probably killed the 13 service people that got killed during the evacuation. Put that aside, but I mean that these hearings are fascinating because they're showing the evidence. I mean, let the evidence speak for itself. I mean that we're seeing more and more crystal clear just how violent and well planned this event was. I mean, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were mustering prior to Trump getting done with his speech. They were there before, scoping the event out. I think before Trump even got to the podium. I mean, there was a coordinated effort to overthrow the government of the United States and prevent the peaceful transfer of power, which we have had since our founding as a nation when the Constitution was signed, because we weren't founded as a nation under the Articles of Confederation. A nation was formed under the Constitution. And for all you knuckleheads out there and CJs and knuckle draggers, try reading the preamble to the Constitution. That's what our government is supposed to be about. It's promoting the general welfare, prevent domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense. Try reading that, and that's what was laid out in Article 1. I mean, try reading Article 1, guys. I mean, and try reading the Federalist Papers or the notes on the Constitutional Convention.
But that seems like so much work, Mark. I'd rather just believe Trump because he's a racist like me, and I'll just go along with it and give him my money.
I'm going to make a confession on behalf of CJ. He's not going to do the homework, Mark. I think I used that line once prior.
Yeah, referring to me, I think.
967-2789. You know what Donald Trump's doing today? He's on the revenge tour again, Dom. Campaign stopping in South Carolina.
Is he cashing checks? Because that's what I really like to know. And if so, under what pretense?
Trump's revenge tour in Battleground, Nevada. What to watch in Tuesday's primary? It's primary day today in Nevada, depending on how you pronounce that word.
Nevada.
Well, that's not how the locals say it, is it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think Nevada.
No, that's Wisconsinite talking there, buddy.
Former President Donald Trump's revenge tour lands in South Carolina on Tuesday, as the article here, Politico, spells out. It's been a bumpy ride so far.
You think?
Maybe it's because they took Trump Airlines. A little bit more. Trump has vowed to defeat Republicans who he believed have crossed him. But high-profile setbacks like Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's resounding primary win show it hasn't always been or gone as planned for the former president. In Tuesday's slate of primary, Trump is backing challengers to two sitting South Carolina House members, GOP reps Tom Rice and Nancy Mace. Rice was one of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump. Oh, that's a crime.
Well done, sir.
And Mace has oscillated between Trump critic and fan even filming praise of Trump outside Trump Tower shortly after he endorsed her opponent. That makes for mixed loyalties, doesn't
Wow,
it?
come on. It's pathetic.
Come back. More Devil's Advocates. Actually, quite good.
Not gonna work here anymore anyway.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
So, dude, not the preferred nomenclature.
Sedition!
But I get it.
Dad, I picked up your pills.
It's
Major.
okay to have questions about COVID-19 vaccines. Now get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when COVID-19 vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Be able to go back to the movies.
Introduce my family to my new girlfriend.
For my husband, who's been a chronic asthmatic his whole life.
So I can visit friends in a different state.
So I can take my granddaughter out to the park again.
So that I can hug my 85-year-old grandma again.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
My senator and yours, Ron Johnson. See a big story about him at the Hill this week in Hill.com. Wisconsin Democrats and Republicans both want Ron to run, but for different reasons. I think some Democrats think, oh, he's just so crazy. Of course we'll beat him, which is what they said about Trump too. Miss that guy? Not much. Not much. He used to come around.
Check out the entire podcast library at darnwi.com.
I'm Kirk Bankstad, and I own the Minocqua Brewing Company in deep red northern Wisconsin, and I have a super PAC. We make good trouble by buying billboards, radio ads, and calls to voters in northern Wisconsin. We target federal and state elections, think Ron Johnson and Tom Tiffany, and concentrate on a fair redistricting process. Give a donation now if you're able at the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com super PAC tab. Help us make the politics of the Northwoods as clean as our lakes and streams. That's the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com super PAC tab.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Nothing but a good time here, especially when you join us on the phones, toll free, talk or text 844-967-2789.
We playing hair bands for your birthday, Dom?
I guess, man. I love it.
Little poison. A little bit more here from the primary guide. Who's got primaries today, June 14th, Tuesday? If it's a Tuesday and it's summer, there's probably a partisan primary going on. But anyways, here they are, Dom. Maine, Nevada, depending on your point of view, North Dakota, South Carolina, plus a Texas special election. A lot of primary races today. So anyways, and what should you be keeping your beady little eyes on, buddy? Well, keep them on South Carolina. That's where Trump will be looking. The former president endorsed, we talked about this, Nancy Mace endorsed against the GOP incumbents. Let me clarify that point. Nancy Mace and Rep. Tom Rice. So he went out and found opponents to two incumbent Republicans because apparently he doesn't like Rice and the other guy voted to impeach his ass. So, that's not the sort of loyalty that the former's looking for.
No, of course not.
But what happens if he goes down there and it doesn't work out so well, Don? What if Rice wins re-election, at least through the primary process?
What if, that's the thing about a cult, right? They're just going to go along with whatever he says.
But doesn't the cult need a leader? And I'm not so sure that the cult leader anymore, because I look at the example of David Perdue against Brian Kemp in Georgia. Kemp beat him 3-1, 70-point margin, something crazy. I mean, 50-point margin, like 70-20. So that is a weakening of the Trump cult. And I know, the cultists, they really want a cult leader. But if this guy's not capable,
No,
Don, the cult's going to need a new leader.
You're missing.
The cult's going to.
You're missing the
cult's
point.
going to divide and.
That's why he's a cult leader. That's why he's a cult leader. I've literally watched like documentaries of actual cults, and the guy is I'm gonna be on this particular day. I'm gonna ascend into the heavens, right? And then they go up there and they go do the thing, and lo and behold, the cult leader does not ascend into the heavens. And what do? They all put their robes on. They go back to the house and continue on with the cult, like it never even happened. See,
is that before or after cutting off one's genitals, shaving one's head, and giving all your money to the cult leader?
No, I'm not going to join a cult.
But there's no rationale, right? With the cult, there's no reasoning. It's a cult. It's a cult of personality. Whatever Trump says. Hey, I want that guy out. Well, that guy didn't get out. Well, we just move along. Oh, I want that guy out. That guy's out. Oh, see, Trump's great. They just blow by it. I mean, that is the thing about a cult. That's why it's a cult. If it wasn't a cult, it was like an actual party, it was an actual movement, yes, there would be some repercussions for, failures. But when you are a cult leader, but the definition of being the cult leader means there are no failures. There's no failures. Trump, if you're a Trump believer, there are no failures. There is nothing he can do to make you turn away from the cult, unless you're, Ginny Thomas, and you get deprogrammed, but then you're already kind of, I don't know, leaning that way, right? And then you're right back in it again. You're cult adjacent again, and then you're right back in it again.
By the time the morning of August 13th, it'll be the talk of the world.
Right, and people still listen to that crackhead.
Mike Lindell?
Yes.
Well, he's hardly a cult leader.
But he's part of the cult.
Many conservatives have bought his Find My Pillow or My Slipper
Even
products.
some not conservative.
But you mentioned Ginny Thomas. A little article over one of my favorite sources, the Raw Story. Ginny Thomas's associates are stunned she has been sucked into a cult again. Is the direct quote from the headline. Another cult after deprogramming. So she was part of a cult. She was deprogrammed, and now apparently she's joined the cult again. And the reporting we had seen earlier in the week, she reached out to 29 individual lawmakers in Arizona. We knew about 2. She reached out to 29. That's cult-like behavior. I mean, I can't get our audience to engage and call their own senators.
I mean, yes and no, in the sense that, there are, email programs that will allow you to reach out to many people at once, so I don't know if that adds any more or less. If it was 2 or 29 or 200, if you got a database with emails and you got a form letter and you sign it, I don't know, it'd be one thing if she was, drawing it with her own blood and, or clipping out, magazine letters and sending it to people, then I think that'd be a little more of an issue. But using some email program is less of a concern. It's still a concern, no doubt, because you do it to one. Why are you doing that? And if, for one other issue, if I just may, if Ginny Thomas and her husband, the Supreme Court guy, if they share a bank account and she was spending money on the big lie, does that make him culpable? Where's the investigation into Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas and their efforts to overturn this election, their financial support, if there is any? I mean, as soon as the Roe v. Wade alleged ruling came out, man, they were Johnny on the spot to start an investigation. But hell, Ginny's back in the cult and no one says boo. Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, I'm fairly confident that the Supreme Court Justice Clarence and Ginny Thomas, well, you got to figure they've got these segregated joint accounts.
You mean Mr. Ginny Thomas? Yes, go ahead.
And then also, of course, the cult account.
Yes.
Let me read a little bit of the reporting here at the Raw Story. Revelations that Ginny Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, has been one of the biggest and most influential proponents of Donald Trump's election theft conspiracy, has stunned some of her former associates who remember her work opposing cults in the 1980s.
I'm shocked. She was in a cult and she was against a cult, and now she's in the cult again. Weird. Where'd that come from?
Thomas has been under increasing scrutiny over texts she sent to former White House Chief Mark Meadows, imploring him to listen to fringe lawyers pushing legal strategies, right? Then last week it reported that she had been emailing GOP lawmakers in Arizona to stand strong in the face of political and media pressure, to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the state. And in a new NBC report, Alan Smith and Alex Seitz-Wald cite a recent report about Jenny Thomas's involvement with the LifeSpring cult decades ago, about which Jane Mayer of the New Yorker wrote, her parents helped her get a job with a local Republican candidate for Congress. And when he won, she followed him to Washington. But after reportedly flunking the bar exam, she fell in with a cultist self-help group, LifeSpring, whose members were encouraged to strip naked, mock one another's body fat. I do that to you occasionally, Dom. She eventually broke away and began working for the Chamber of Commerce, opposing comparable worth pay for women. Come back. More Devil's Advocates. You'll come back. We're a cult. Join us. Don't get that.
What do you got to do that's so f***ing important? You can't join the cult with me.
And I'm serious. If you have any moral character about you, we're all in this together.
No, I'm not going to join a cult. I love you.
It's over. Nothing matters anymore.
Come on down to Mary
Two-thirds of the U.S. senators are
downtown Waukesha. We are all things hemp. Edibles, flowers, chocolate, Delta 8, 10, P, and O. We also have clothing, shoes, jewelry, toiletries, but most importantly, education. Come into the store. Let me educate you on all things hemp. Whether you smoke it or wear it, come and get it at Mary Jane's on Main. Or you can see us every Saturday at the farmer's market. I'm Mary, and let me show you how hemp can help you.
Decorating your home is personal. You want your place to be unique. That's why you should check out Art and Framing 123 in downtown Waukesha. Discover home decor items from Treasury Hunter Ramona and original artwork by D.E., also known as Friday Night Live artist Dan A. Art and Framing 123 has a custom framing service for your diplomas, posters, Packer certificates, images on canvas, photos, and more. Art and Framing 123, 311 West Main, across from the hotel. Let them know you heard about them on the Shaw.
You are listening to WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W226DR Waukesha, always streaming at WAUK Radio.
AP News, I'm Tim McGuire. President Biden works to offset slipping ratings with assurances the economy is on the right track.
Inflation's at a more than 40-year high, and the president says taming it is his top economic priority.
Gas is up and food is up, which we're going to get down come hell or high water.
But he notes the economic recovery is strong, with big job growth and healthy unemployment.
Under my plan for the economy, we made extraordinary progress.
Telling a union audience in Philadelphia he's looking to rebuild the economy around workers, trying to draw a contrast with Republicans who have increasingly drawn blue-collar voters. But the GOP is blaming him and Democrats for high prices, with what Tennessee's Diana Harshbarger calls irresponsible and expensive policies.
The Biden administration has cared more about going woke than helping Americans who are going broke.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
A Food and Drug Administration panel recommends Moderna's vaccine for teens and younger school-age children. Dr. Carla Vinals is with the company.
mRNA-1223 was generally well tolerated, and the safety profile is consistent with that observed in young adults. No new safety concerns have been identified.
The same advisory group meets tomorrow on both Pfizer's and Moderna's shots for children 5 and under. A bipartisan framework on guns draws support. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell.
If this framework becomes the actual piece of legislation, it's a step forward on a bipartisan basis, and further demonstrates to the American people that we can come together.
The plan calls for juvenile records of gun buyers under 21 to be part of the background checks, federal funding of mental health and school security, and to enforce local red flag laws. Primary elections today: South Carolina, Nevada, Maine, and North Dakota. This is AP News.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Fisher Price and
The Shaw
regulators
101
warn parents
FM.
not to let their infants
Brookfield's
fall
choice
asleep in
for
the
News
company's
Talk
rockers.
Radio.
Mike
Streaming
Hempel reports.
24/7.
The Consumer
at
Product Safety Commission and Fisher
WAUK.com.
Price are telling parents
Listen to
not
the
to
Shaw
let their
101
infants fall
FM and
asleep in the
WAUK
rockers.
540 AM.
13 infants
Waukesha's
died in the
only
rockers
news talk
between
radio station,
2009
bringing
and
you a
last
lineup
year.
of live talk
The deaths
radio
occurred when
every
they
single
fell
weekday.
asleep in
Kick
the
off your
infant and
afternoon with
toddler
local headlines
newborn
and
to
multiple
toddler
trains of
rockers.
thought by listening to
Fisher
Dueling
Price and
Tangents
product
with Luke and
safety
Brian.
regulators say
Tune
the
in for the
rockers should
political
never
party
be
that
used
is
for
the
sleep,
Devil's
and
Advocates
infants
radio
should never
show
be
every
left
day from 3 to 6
unsupervised
p.m.
or unrestrained
right here
in
on
them.
the Shaw
Mike
101
Hempel,
FM and
Washington. 3
WAUK
years ago,
540
the Consumer
AM.
Product Safety Commission recalled
This is
another
Norm
Fisher
from
Price
Martha
product,
Merrill
the Rock
Books in
and Play
downtown
Sleeper,
Waukesha,
after 30
231 West Main Street. We've been in business now almost 28 years. We're the book detectives. We can find adult and children's books, even if they're out of print. If we can't find it, it's probably not available. At Martha Merrill's, we specialize in unique gifts. We sell puppets and stuffed animals, but we don't sell watches because we're timeless. We do gift wrapping. When you walk out of the store, you have a present ready. Martha Merrill Books, 231 West Main Street.
No matter what era of life you're in, ERA's Senior Network is here for you. For older adults in an era of life after retirement, ERA's can engage you in meaningful volunteer opportunities like tutoring local students or driving an older adult to a medical appointment or grocery store. You may be in an era of needing additional support, and ERA's Senior Network can match you with a screened and trained volunteer to get you where you need to go or provide ongoing friendship through a weekly friendly phone call. For more information, www.eras.org.
The Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM, Waukesha's only news talk station.
For the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM, I'm Sam Butson with your headlines. Yesterday, a lawyer from the Democratic Party of Wisconsin said the party won't be filing an appeal against the Wisconsin Elections Commission decision to allow Republican gubernatorial candidate Tim Michels access to the ballot in the August primary. Democrats had challenged Michels' nomination petitions, arguing that he had failed to properly fill out the forms. On Friday, the WEC voted unanimously to allow Michels onto the ballot, even if it technically was incorrect. The Republican primary for governor is set for August 9th. Some clouds in the morning will give way to mainly sunny skies in the afternoon. Record high temperatures are expected today with a heat advisory in place from 11 a.m. today to 8 p.m. Wednesday and an expected high of 93 degrees. A few clouds overnight with winds up to 20 miles per hour and a nightly low of 74 degrees. You're listening to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM.
Devil Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday edition. Dom, the current weather here in glorious Madison, Wisconsin, a cool and sunny 96 degrees.
Ooh, it's hot.
96 degrees Fahrenheit. 844-967-2789. We will
Sounds hot, man. It was It's 90 something here too. It's weird. I was driving today, and it was like, I don't know, I got my car and it was 100 something degrees. It went down a little bit, it was in the sun, black car. And it went down to like 96, 97, drove through towards the lake, dropped down to like 73, drove another 10 miles, went back up to like 90 to 88. It's just been, it's cooler by the lake, but damn, it's crazy out there right now.
Well, it's cooler by the radio. Listening to the Devil's Advocates will keep you cool. You know what I'm saying. Dom, I've got the lead for this big hour. My guy, Bernie Sanders, coming to Wisconsin. Do you see that?
I did.
This Friday, doing a town hall with some UAW workers. Let me read a little bit beyond the headline here at the Journal Sentinel. Senator Bernie Sanders is coming to Mount Pleasant on Friday. Mount Pleasant. Why is that name? Why is that community so familiar?
Wasn't that the eighth wonder of the world that former President Trump and former governor from Wisconsin, Scott Walker, they're going to do this? Oh, Foxconn. Yes. A lot of conning going on with these Republicans these days.
How's the Wisconsin Valley taking us into the 21st century? I mean, I've heard proposals from everything from a 8G factory, which Scott Walker just kind of made up on the stump one day, to a fish farm location. Dom, they're going to farm fish at the Foxconn.
Everybody wanted Foxconn. I hate to say it. If I didn't get elected, they wouldn't be in this country. They would not have done this in this country. I think you know that very well.
Thank God for Wanker and the former.
The insurrectionist bastard. Yeah. I mean, the local communities are on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars. And since they're not going to be able to pay it, that means the rest of the state are going to have to front that money, come up with that money. If Foxconn, which they probably won't, doesn't come through with their, promises. But hey, what the hell? These are the Republicans that want small government, right? Now they're using government as a showboat bribe. Foxconn has left a trail of destruction around of broken promises around the world. But Trump and Walker are going to be the guys that put this one together. Give me a break.
Well, if anyone was going to lock him down in the back of the cocktail napkin, it was Scotty Wanker.
Yeah.
What's that guy up to lately, other than not watching the January 6th hearings?
Well, he's out there on some of those righty, news organizations telling the world that, in Wisconsin and around the world, nobody cares about January 6th. Yeah, no one cares about a conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States led by your guy, led by the GOP. And what does Scott Walker have this willful blindness as well? Does Robin Voss? I mean, Gableman is quoted. Gableman, this jackass from Wisconsin, is quoted in the 12-page manifesto that Trump dropped yesterday, saying that the money that Zuckerberg donated to help, the elections was a bribe. No, it wasn't a bribe. Judges have said that. So it's just a freaking joke, man. I'm so tired of it. I'm so absolutely tired of it. They cannot believe it. And if they do believe it, their judgment sucks.
Having a great time.
They do have a couple of things in common. I'm trying to think what they are. They both ran for president, one more successfully than the other, talking about Wanker and Trump.
I used to run track.
He ran track too. Yep, that's true.
Well, Trump, I thought, was a baseball guy. Batted right around the Mendoza line.
He's a golfer.
Claimed though, if you believe Trump's claims, he's being scouted into the major leagues.
Sure he was.
Wasn't true. It was a Scott Walker, Scott P. Walker. I'm Scott Kevin Walker.
Yeah.
I forget what the other thing they had in common was. It's not Beautiful Wives. What is it? I'll come back to it.
Yeah, terrible.
844-967-2789. I see
Freedom.
young son. I forget if it's Matt or Alex. One of them got engaged to some unlucky girl this weekend. I wonder if it's the more political one or the one that looks like mom.
Stoner. Oh, does anybody care? Who cares, man? Who cares? What about Bernie coming to Foxconn, man? Let's hear about
let me
that.
tell you all about it. We were talking about the Foxconn, and I got lost in the details there for a moment. Just dreaming about the lovely Mrs. Wanker. Senator Bernie Sanders plans to visit Mount Pleasant on Friday to meet with hundreds of CNH industrial workers who've been on strike since May 2nd. Sanders, the most popular politician ever, according to Crudy, PolitiFact, it's true, plans to visit the United Auto Workers Local 180 for a town hall event It's unclear if other elected officials will participate. Think Robin Voss will plop down with Bernie?
I mean, it's his backyard. He's friend of labor, right?
How about Congressman Brian Style from Wisconsin's first CD? Following the Mount Pleasant event, Sanders plans to go to Burlington, Iowa to talk to CNH industrial workers there, also on strike. Now, they're primarily, apparently, striking over health insurance costs and wages. And I noted that the CEO got something of a substantial raise. Bernie took some issue with it. Beyond unaffordable health benefits, this is from a letter drafted by Bernie and my understanding, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, a co-author on this. Beyond unaffordable health benefits, you have refused to offer workers fair pay for their hard work. Your proposal offers your lowest paid workers an average annual raise of just $1.33 per hour, which is woefully inadequate, and a substantial pay cut for many after adjusting for inflation and the massive new health benefit cost, which according to Bernie Sanders is like $6,000 in new deductibles.
Oh,
yeah, that starts to add up a little bit.
And you're supposed to make up for that and get ahead with $1 an hour raise?
Now,
I'm just saying there's 2,080 hours in a 40-hour, 52-week work year, right? So if it's $1 an hour, that's like $2,000. And you're going to give them an extra bump up on the buck, but you're going to pass along an extra $6,000 in healthcare costs? Really?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, good job.
Again, from this statement, the company immediately deployed a scab workforce that they assembled prior to the contract deadline in anticipation of a strike that was quite predictable based on their posture at the bargaining table. CNH Industrial has not responded to requests for an interview. In the letter, the senators wrote to Wine being an executive with CNH, they point out the corporation, CNH Industrial, made $1.7 billion in profits last year. And how'd the CEO do? Here again from the letter. If CNH can afford to provide you, the ironically named Wine, with a $9.2 million signing bonus and nearly $22 million in total compensation for 1 year of work, nearly 8,000 times the raise you're offering some workers, it can afford to pay all your workers better wages and better benefits. If CNH can afford to spend over $100 million on stock buybacks over a 6-month period to enrich its wealthy shareholders, it can afford to treat all its workers with dignity and respect that they deserve. Now, Bernie last came to town to endorse our boy Randy Bryce, and it points out he ran for president in 2016. I think they failed to acknowledge his strong 2020 campaign.
And the Iron Stash is from down there somewhere too, isn't he?
Yeah, he was an iron worker from the first CD, ran against Brian Style, if I recall. So anyways, Tom, Bernie's coming to town, coming to Mount Pleasant, where we're supposed to build the 8th wonder of the world. And we're just all left wondering, when will they build it and what will they build there? And will it include fish in some way, shape, or form? Or maybe 8G televisions made up in Scott Walker's, ass.
What a joke.
Yeah, it has been. Really, it has.
It has been. And there's plenty of blame to go around for it. And again, once again, do you do you trust their judgment? That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Scott Walker?
Well, I mean, yeah, Republicans, and Scott Walker and Donald Trump and, those around him, those that are advising him, those are, I'm seeing, on the Chiron today on the news, like 100 of Republicans have won their primaries that are denying that Biden is the legitimate president who won a free and fair election. So do you trust that judgment? No, absolutely not. They're either ignorant or they're corrupt. And either way, they do not deserve your vote. They do not deserve to represent anybody in this great country. They're bringing this country down.
And of course, they're so very self-serving because they were not serving of their constituents, be it Trump. I mean, Trump picked a fight with Harley Davidson Motor Corporation. What's more Americana than Harley, man? Picking fights with Harley over tariffs. Above and beyond that, the self-serving former governor of the state of Wisconsin, I'd like to call him the wanker. Let's not forget, he brought us Foxconn. put us, we, the Wisconsin taxpayers, on the hook $4.5 billion. When the Menominee tribe tried to give us $250 million and 10,000 jobs in a casino, he said, hell no to that, right? That would have gone down near Mount Pleasant, I believe. And instead put the taxpayers on the hook for the very same $250 million for a publicly funded Fiserv Forum. I mean, it's a hell of an arena. And I have no offense to candidate Alex Lasry or his father, but hell, man, he's rich enough. We didn't have to build them a stadium with public money because it was being offered privately. He killed the high-speed rail. He killed the broadband internet. And of course, over and over again, he killed the minimum wage in the state of Wisconsin. It was Scott Walker's choice. The minimum wage by law in the state of Wisconsin, a minimum wage must be a livable wage. Walker changed the language and kept the $7.25 an hour. And the $200 million a year in revenue from legalized marijuana, well, I'm sending half of that down to Illinois every weekend.
Yep.
Come back with us. Your phone calls could be next. 844-967-2789. I'm saying the weed's expensive in Illinois. If it were homegrown, if it were legal.
Foxconn will help Wisconsin win the 21st century. No, they didn't.
Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out.
Thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Wanker. What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates, and he would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
The plaintiff, Donald J. Trump, hereby serves his suit against the defendants, Hillary Clinton and her cohorts, orchestrated an unthinkable plot, one that shocks the conscience and is an affront to the nation's democracy. This week on Fox. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing a few too many adverbs and adjectives in this sentence.
One man, one mission Donald Trump gets made fun of. This is Watergate 2.
Making radio great again.
Hey, I'm Haley Kiyoko, and I know what it's like to struggle with mental health issues. If you have a friend that's going through a tough time, now is the perfect moment to reach out. Learn how to start the conversation at seizetheawkward.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
The big and tall of political talk. The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We'll get to your calls briefly. Be patient. We promise. 844-967-2789.
Does that mean we're going to be brief with the callers?
No, we'll get there briefly.
Oh, we'll get there in a brief moment.
In due course.
Throw out a headline and then we'll get to the phones. Once again, 844-96-PARTY. The online daily, urbanmilwaukee.com, turning our attention to our great state. You know, I'm always a homer at heart. I'm still wearing the Brewers cap despite the 8-game losing streak.
Oh, no, they took one the other day, didn't they?
I know. They are finally back on the right side of the win column. But the questioning headline here at the Urban Milwaukee, will Trump backing hurt Tim Michels? Now, there is a gubernatorial candidate, just made it on the ballot by the skin of the good graces of the Wisconsin Elections Commission. And he's a recently Trump endorsed guy, right? Here's the subheadline. Here's the kicker, Dom. Republican could have been a strong mainstream candidate. this connects them to a cult.
Yes, it does.
John Tarinas, we'll get to that in a bit, but let's get to the phones right now at 844-967-2789. Connie from Madison, welcome, Connie. What do you got for us?
Hi, Connie.
Hi. Two things. I heard your name mentioned on Stephanie Miller this morning and how you were on Fox over the weekend.
Oh, I thought you meant because it's Dirty Dom's birthday. And even though she, prefers the women, she still sees the sexiness of Dom.
Well, it was Jody Hamilton on, but they were talking about you, and then Chris and Travis said, "Yeah, we know him. We met him. Devil Radio in Madison." So they like that you gave it to the Fox people.
Well, that's good.
That
I appreciate the shout out, Connie.
Yeah. So the other thing that I heard, with Michaels, Trump, I think, endorsed him because he's a businessman like him, but he knows nothing about politics. And now he's, oh yeah, I'm going to get rid of the Wisconsin swamp. I think the guy's just full of it.
Well, you know what? Michaels wants to literally build that wall. He wants his corporation. Oh, yeah. They do big governmental contract stuff. I believe they were part of trying to build the wall, wanted to take some of that sweet, sweet government money, very socialist when they're spending our money, the government.
Yeah, well, and his family has a construction company, and he says he'll divest himself from the business, but his family will still be bidding on government contracts.
Which he would then sign off on, at least those, if he were successful and he wins the governorship of the state of Wisconsin. Well, he would literally get to sign those contracts, seemingly, on behalf of the state.
Yeah. But that's not a swampy thing, right?
No, that's
not when
just
they do it.
Good old-fashioned Wisconsin / Connecticut nepotism.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you. I'm glad I heard of, they were so cool about, because Jody had mispronounced your last name. And so they said, no, it's Prudy. It's Prudy.
Well, maybe she said it right. It's not actually Crudy, but that's what everyone calls me.
What is it? Crute?
Right. Well, then, Crute. Yeah.
Crute,
well,
yes.
They were calling you Crudy, but she was pronouncing it a little bit different. She was trying to sound it out.
More of a crute sort of a thing.
Something like that. Yeah. She was giving you the shout out, about giving a Fox what for. I don't have cable, so I'm just going to have to Google it or something to see what you
If you just Google, well, there's a profane word in Mike Crute you could Google, but I prefer if you just, let's say, do Mike Crute Fox News. Oh, there'll be a video or two out there to watch, Connie.
Okay.
I left my mark, kind of like my dog does on the post out back.
kind of like the old Who album where they're all standing around and there's all marks on those, where they left their mark on those pillars.
Well, I'd like to think I signed my name in the snow that day, Connie.
My second husband used to do that.
He's a fine man, Connie. Man like myself. 844-967-2789. Nothing but fine Wisconsinites in the queue. Let's get to them. Andy from Beaver Dam. Our pal. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, Andy, what's happening?
Not too bad. Well, first of all, Dom, it's a happy 50th, right?
51, man. I've turned that corner.
Oh, God. Okay, well, anyway.
Thanks,
dude. You should be getting your letter from ARP and all that stuff. But, yeah,
letter? He's already a member.
Well, that's right. He signed up already. You got to do it. But anyway, my grandson, 23-year-old grandson, is working for Michael down in North Carolina, going underneath a river to get the sewage pipes through, and it's all rock, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, that's an interesting thing when you say that if he became governor, that he'd be putting the Henry on all these highway contracts. And, they own gravel pits and they own, there's the
diversified nepotism. It's the best kind, Andy.
Right, exactly. They start out as a like putting in pipelines and stuff, but now and there's a big, if you guys ever come up 794, or not 794, 43, they got a big office building. We were going up there about a month and a half ago, in Milwaukee towards the Marquette interchange, and here's a big
huge,
building,
beautiful glass building. Yeah, it's right on the river.
What? It's like, geez, I mean, and it's gorgeous. What, but anyway.
Andy, you know why they put the big Michaels construction on there? So where you can leave your mark.
Thanks for the call, Andy. Listen, someone's got to do it. I mean, if they're bidding the jobs and doing governmental work, if it wasn't his company, it'd be another company. And I don't mind that. But hitching your wagon to a twice impeached, one-term loser who lost the House and the Senate, and then it will hopefully be indicted for treason and coup attempts. I'm not clear that that's the most intelligent political strategy you could possibly imagine.
I'm going to go for D. I take objection to all of the freaking above, man. No, I take big objection to a future governor signing contracts for his own family company to build stuff. Hell no, I say.
You could bet on it, Crudy.
I can build a wall around your homes that nothing will penetrate.
That wall will go up so fast, your head will spin. Mexico is going to pay for the wall.
We're building a wall in Colorado.
The Shaw 101 FM, your fix for progressive talk. From Big Bend to Menominee Falls. Always streaming at WAUKradio.com.
Smart Asset Realty offers everything necessary to help you successfully evaluate, acquire, and maintain any size property and maximize a property's potential value. Whether it's the first time you are purchasing a house or managing your next apartment complex, we are here to reach your real estate goals. Start investing now. We take the headaches, you keep the profit. Contact us at 262-232-8738 or visit us at smartassetrealty.com.
Se habla español.
Listen to the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM, Waukesha's only news talk radio station. The Devil's Advocates Radio Show is live every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. Join Native Roots Radio from 6 to 7 p.m. for updates about Native news, culture, and activism. The 7 o'clock hour is for local programming, including the Paul Revere Show on Mondays, Busted Pencils on Tuesdays, and the Up North Podcast on Wednesdays. Always streaming at WAUK Radio.
Russian state-owned media TASS reports WNBA star Brittany Griner will remain in custody through at least July 2nd. She's been held on accusations of possessing cannabis oil since February. State Department spokesman Ned Price.
Our position for some time on this has been very clear. Brittany Griner should not be detained. She should not be detained for a single day longer.
Griner, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, played in Russia during the WNBA offseason. She was detained at a Moscow airport a week before Russia invaded Ukraine. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell supports the bipartisan gun agreement that includes funding for red flag laws, mental health programs, and school security. Senators and aides hope the agreed outline can be turned into legislation in days, with the chances of passage before leaving on the July 4th recess. Both parties say that might be difficult because of disputes and delays. I'm Tim McGuire.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
From Up North News, I'm Pat Kreitlow with headlines and commentary from our daily newsletter. They say an elephant never forgets, but we know one Democrat with an equally muscular memory, and that's President Biden as he takes another verbal swing at Senator Ron Johnson Tuesday for saying back in March that Republicans should try to tear down the Affordable Care Act if the GOP takes hold of Congress next year. We have a guest column submitted by a retired nurse educator in Germantown who says Congress should actually be working to shore up the Affordable Care Act before some relief provided in a pandemic aid package expires. That'll raise rates or jeopardize coverage for a lot of folks. And Wisconsin Republicans may finally be getting the message that blocking efforts to clean up polluted water may not be a popular position. They've stopped fighting new rules on industrial chemicals being found in more drinking water systems. For all that and more, find us at upnorthnewswi.com.
The Devil's Advocates. So relevant, they have one foot in tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Tuesday happy hour. We're rolling through it. And I got to point out, January 6, 2021, only had one big winner. There's one winner. There's lots of losers, lots of criminals, but there's one winner.
And who is that?
I can tell you who. Kimberly Guilfoyle. You know, the best is yet to come. That woman, she is the only winner of January 6th. And let me tell you how. According to new reporting at CNN, Turning Point Action, a conservative pro-Trump organization, paid Kimberly Guilfoyle $60,000 to introduce her fiance, Donald Trump Jr., in a speech lasting less than 3 minutes. Well, I heard that's how long you lasted on your wedding night, Dom.
The best is yet to come.
I promise, baby, I'll be better next time. Come on, man. You think that's a good hourly rate? I mean, Stormy Daniels got paid $130,000 for less than a minute.
Well, how do you know it was less than a minute? He claimed he never had sex with her. So she got paid $130,000 to not have sex with Trump. Or so he would claim.
I'd take $130,000 to not have sex with Donald Trump.
What is that? $20,000 a minute. I don't like doing math on the radio. I'm not going to try to figure it out on a second by second basis, but it's more than we're paying you.
To me, this is a very, very sexy subject.
The payment to Guilfoyle was disclosed Monday by Democratic Rep. Zoe Lofgren of California, who told CNN's Jake Tapper, the Tapper. I had a buddy in college named Tapper from Merrill, Wisconsin, fine town, that the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol has evidence that former President Donald Trump's family members personally benefited from money raised based on Trump's false election claims.
Maybe we could launder the money.
The Trump family, specifically Donald Trump, making the claim, right? It's stolen, it's rigged, it's false, they've taken it from me, it's greatest criminal screwing of me.
Crime of the century.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he says lots of things, but mostly he emails you and tells you, send me money. Send
millions
me money.
of emails. Yes, send me money. And people do. They send him money. Send him a lot of money.
$250 million specifically for some sort of official campaign election defense fund, you know, stopping the steal effectively. It's a hell of a fundraising slogan. Stop the steal. How ironic. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more here. Lofgren spoke after the committee's hearing on Monday, highlighted the $250 million raised by the Save America PAC and the Trump campaign. But those entities did not pay Guilfoyle's fee. The people familiar with the payment told CNN, no, just cash in a brown bag like Trump normally does it with the ladies. The payment came from Turning Point Action, an affiliate of of Turning Point USA, the youth organization started by Charlie Kirk, who is a close friend of Trump Jr. You know, so it's just, you know, friends taking care of friends. One hand washes the other, right, Dom?
And then they both wash their face.
You want to read a little deeper in this?
I don't have it, man. Go ahead.
Okay. During Monday's hearing, the committee showed a video presentation from a senior investigator to lay out how Trump used the false claim of election fraud to raise the $250 million from donors. According to the investigator, the fundraising emails indicated the money would go towards an election defense fund. But there's always a but with Trump. But the investigator said most of the money was routed to Save America, a pro-Trump PAC. liquid cash, Dom. Lofgren appeared on CNN soon after that presentation and disclosed the payment to Guilfoyle as an example of grift. I think she means graft. Tapper asked whether the committee had found evidence that Trump and his family personally benefited from donations. For example, we know that Guilfoyle was paid for the introduction she gave at the speech on January 6th. She received compensation for that. I'm not saying it's a crime, but I'm saying it's grift. They're grifting, Dom. A little bit more. Chairman Benny Thomas was asked by CNN late Monday to clarify if Guilfoyle was paid with the Stop the Steal funds. I did not say that, Thompson, a Mississippi Democrat, told CNN. It was strictly paid out of expenditures that came from people who came to the Stop the Steal rally. Last quote here. This one. First of all, we think, this is the quote. I'll just read it and we'll see who said it. First of all, we think the majority of the public would be concerned that if the girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr. made $60,000 for a few minute speech, that they had no idea. She had to get paid to speak at something everybody else was coming to because they thought it was the right thing to do. So why'd she have to get paid? Why would you have to pay? I mean,
everyone's getting paid, man. What do you mean? Why wouldn't you pay her? And how do you come up with $60,000? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want to see the minutes of that board meeting. Oh, you know what I'm saying? How they decided to come up with, Kimberly Guilfoyle, let's give her, let's do 20. No, that's not, let's do it. All right, that's 40, 40, no, 40, 100. No, that's too much. 60, all right, $60,000. I mean, really? I mean, how does this not, Turning Point, this is some sort of nonprofit, right? They have probably a 501c3. They are regulated by the government. Certainly, perhaps an audit would be due for Charlie Kirk and crew. I'm just saying.
They were making it rain up there on the ellipse on January 6th.
I mean, it's hard. If someone's giving you
that's like
$250 billion, I'd be, you spread it out, you give it away, you spend it. I mean, what are you going to do with it? You put it in your pocket, but you got to pay those around you a little bit. You got to feed, you got to, wet their whistles just a little bit. I mean, this is so gangster, dude. It's entirely obvious. And if this is funneled through some 501c3s or some nonprofits or whatever, I'm not clear how it's all done. And some people should perhaps look into that. But yeah, of course they're going to go out and pay him that. I'm surprised it was only 60.
There are times where having a Sicilian with his MBA on the panel pays dividends. You might be unique in that way.
Yeah.
The only
Sicilian interest, 100% interest compounded twice daily. Don't worry about it. Let's you run a week.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
And then he dies.
844-967-2789. Dick from Madison. Welcome back, Dick. What do you got?
Hey, Dick.
Oh, first of all, happy birthday, Dom.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's Michael's going to run on? Fixing the roads that Walker ruined?
Fixing the elections that Trump lost.
There you go. I just got a quick thing to run by you, and then can I read a quote? The thing from my January 6th that I found out is I told Matt yesterday morning, I think that Liz Cheney stumbled on the party platform, defending the indefensible. But now here's what I would like to read to you real quickly, if I could. Republicans do not cover up. Republicans do not go ahead and threaten. Republicans do not commit illegal acts. And for God's sakes, Republicans do not view their fellow Americans as enemies to be harassed. Who said that?
No idea. Doesn't seem like anything a Republican would say.
John Dean 50 years ago. Isn't that something how Republicans have changed?
They have changed. It is the Trump cultist party now, Dick.
Yes, it is.
It's the mega party, man. There's no Republican Party anymore, Dick. The fringers have taken over. It's the mega grift party. Throw in some Christian nationalism on the side. Let's go attack some LGBTQ people in Idaho, right? Box up in the back of a U-Haul. I mean, this is, I'm not clear they have changed. I mean, how is this any different than the Klan? Right? Than the Nazis. How is this any different? This has been with us the entire time. Trump gave everybody permission to be a-holes and to, grift. Everybody's grifting. So you get yours. It's like, we're giving away a car. Everybody gets a piece. Yeah, Molly Beck from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel tweeted out about an hour ago in response to whether he supports same-sex marriage or believes it should be banned. Republican candidate for governor Tim Michaels said today in an interview he believes marriage should be between a man and a woman. And thank you for that answer, but you did not answer the question. He's listening to you, Crudy. So they are not only just they are adamantly anti-LGBTQ. There's a moment there where you let it slide and let bygones and let people what happens in do their own thing. No. That's not how it is. They want this. They want this Old Testament law kind of thing, whatever they could do to justify putting a woman in their place, making sure the gays can't have any fun, can't live the same life and enjoy the same rights that they have. Why? Because they believe in some mythology that justifies their action. What a bunch of bunk. Tim Michaels can go to hell if there was one.
And Dick, if you're going to quote someone to me, I prefer if you quote me to me. Check the Rolling Stone.
I mean, if you did, you'd have to buzz it out.
We'd have to dump it. Let's not go there again. Let's not have this conversation. 844-967-2789. Anything but you could, do a dealer style, dealer's choice. Now, Dom, I heard you say you had a family affair this evening, being your birthday, and
yes.
But I know you're going to drag it out into like the Father's Day weekend. So you're a dad, and it's your birthday this week.
Oh, is it Father's Day this weekend?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
You're a father of, at least two that we know.
At least two. Yes, a loving father.
I'd like to think I'm a loving father as well.
Yeah. You and all the Republicans. Yes, I'm going to have some family members over today.
Spending more time with family.
My brother-in-law and his husband are coming over. So yeah, I take these anti-LGBTQ things a little personally. If you don't know anybody, it's like not having any friends that are of a different race or a different religion. I mean, people need to go out and explore a little bit, travel a bit, that cures the racism and reading that'd be a good thing too. And not just the Foxy News. So no, I mean, my brother-in-law had to go get married in Illinois and then have a reception in Wisconsin before the Barbara Crab ruling came down here in the state of Wisconsin. Right. So it was illegal for him to do so now. And they're happily married, man. Been married a long time now. Longer than probably, Donald Trump's, some of his marriages. So this whole thing is just, I'm not going to say a ruse, but it's another thing to just divide the electorate. Why does Tim Michaels care? Why does anybody care who marries who? What does that have to do with anything whatsoever?
Well, the guy's embracing the big lie, Dom, and you can't tell me Michaels is not smart enough to know that Donald Trump didn't win the last election. So why is he doing it? Because he wants to win an election. And in Republican politics these days, that means sell your soul. Go look at Exhibit A, Scott Walker. Go look at Exhibit B, Donald Trump, Tim Michaels, Ron Johnson, Lindsey Graham. I mean, you cannot keep your character, keep your soul, and be a Republican elected in this day and age. The only one that's still got a soul, and this is sad to say, Dick Cheney's daughter. Liz Cheney has kept her soul.
Oh, don't forget Adam Kinzinger.
Well, I would agree. Kinzinger probably still has a soul. You don't believe in souls. Why are you throwing more souls?
I get what you're saying here. I don't believe in any of that bunk, but I get your point. They have some character. They have some morals, something that they believe in.
You don't need 10 commandments to have morals, do you, Dom?
Absolutely not. Do unto others, man.
Do you need family to spend more time with family? Because Glenn Grothman, I mean, really, he's talking about Ma, the meatloaf. One last thought for you, Dick, one of our fine callers. We really, really would like to move beyond the quoting other radio shows to this radio show. I've tried to make this point a couple of times.
You were fine when she brought up you on Stephanie Miller.
Well, that's an exception to the rule. A Dom birthday exception will make.
Could you please post the rules?
But no more. They're arbitrary, as always.
To conceal the source of money as by channeling it through an intermediary.
The best is yet to come.
Hey, I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul.
If doctors, nurses, and grocery store clerks can wear a mask for 10 or 12-hour shifts, you can wear a mask for an hour or less when you go to the store. Do your part. Mask up, America.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
But Dom, we've been following a couple of big stories this week. Truck convoy leader has no idea where he is and is driving in circles around I-495.
He didn't know precisely where he was going anyways or where he was at the time. Apparently, he put the convoy back on the road, headed back up north, and he's back in Scranton. So
I totally would have protested this tyranny, but damn, the traffic was so bad.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad at the Monaco Brewing Company, and I am proud to introduce you to Choice, our new pink grapefruit flavored hard seltzer. Choice was made in collaboration with Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, and 5% of the proceeds from every can goes to support them and their fight for reproductive freedom. Choice hard seltzer tastes great and comes in at only 105 calories per can. Go to our website, monacobrewingcompany.com, to find where you can buy Choice hard seltzer.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age?
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, the last segment of the day. My birthday. Join us on the phones. Wish me happy birthday. 844-967-2789.
do you see yourself as more of a Jake or an Elwood, Dom?
Hang on. Which one? Which one's which? Who's Belushi? I'm more the Belushi guy.
Oh,
Shorter.
I'd say.
Well, chubby.
Shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the taller, chubby guy. You're like Dan Aykroyd now.
Let's go to the phones before we have to insult each other further. 844-967-2789. Sort of amongst men, sort of a birthday tradition. You know, if you're a close friend, you talk more trash to your buddy on his birthday
that's
than
why.
any other day of the year, right?
I mean, it's almost an obligation.
Chris from Sun Prairie. Welcome back, Chris. What do you got for us?
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Well, I'm really close to say happy birthday to Dom.
Thank you.
That's really my whole purpose for calling today. I've been kind of on a news blackout here. We have, I've been listening to you guys, but other than that, we have no cable, no TV, nothing here. No,
And do you
no
blame
nothing.
Joe Biden for that? I mean, is that because of Bidenflation,
No.
Chris? No. Are you
No.
sure?
We got hit by lightning as well yesterday. I know some were affected. We apologize for that, but you know, Mother Nature and climate change could be climate change, but you know, whereas Ron Johnson would call it weather.
It seems so unfair, though. I mean, that was really a good day for you to be getting a lot of hits on your radio station.
You know, technically, Chris, we had the greatest stream audience in our history yesterday during this fine show. I could never prove
Yeah,
that
well.
we've had a bigger audience than we had yesterday on stream.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll keep on growing because I really do think that this has gotten you out there way further than you've been before. And
Well, that turning
good for
off the
you.
FM for a couple hours, that'll pop up the stream numbers nicely.
Yeah, but standing up to Fox, that's a pretty big deal, and
Yes.
I hope that you get a lot more people following because you really deserve it. And I just hope you keep growing and growing because we need way more people listening to what people on your radio station are saying.
Well, Chris, how am I going to top myself now? What, go talk trash on Newsmax? I mean, I got nowhere left to go, sister.
OAN's calling, I heard, Chris.
I don't know. Fox is not shut down yet, so there's still work to be done.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
we'll see.
Chris, appreciate your call. We're going to keep moving down the phones. We got a few more friends in wait, like Betsy from Madison. How you doing, sister?
Hey, Betsy.
Hey, you guys, both of you. Crudy, I'm sorry. Happy belated birthday to you, and happy birthday to you too, Dom. Today.
Oh, thank you,
and
sister.
What a
What, Dom
special
gets
day it
two
is.
happies, two scoops? I get like one
It's 'cause
melted
it's today,
2-day
man.
old belated.
See, he's so
I
saucy.
told Evan, I missed your birthday, Crudy. God, what am I gonna do? Have to send you some money, I guess, and I will because I love you guys and I think you're really important.
And I will spend that money on either weed or beer. I will spend it. I promise.
Whatever you need. Yeah.
Hopefully, he'll give it to me to talk for like 2 minutes to introduce him next time. You know, kind of like Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Oh man, I'm so glad you're back together, you guys. Please, this is so like you guys are vital for each other. You're like
Unfortunately,
the yin and
Fancy
yang.
Brian was sort of a Yoko Ono for the group. And
No, God, I can't forget.
That's
Fancy
not
Brian.
true.
Please,
I just really don't have a good
trouble
voice, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but you're sexy.
Oh, happy birthday. I love you guys and thank you for all you do.
Oh,
thank you, Betsy.
sorry to
Love
cut you
back.
short. Thanks for listening, Betsy. You know, you are one of our favored, like Wisco Paul. Wisco, how you doing, man?
Paulie, what's happening?
Hey, happy birthday to you, Dom. That's cool.
Thank you.
And yeah, as far as Betsy goes, that's one of my favorite promos. Betsy and Crudy sing, and that was just awesome.
Oh, wait, I can sing for you now, Paul. You and I could sing. We could be a promo.
It's for my birthday present. I don't want Crudy to sing.
You don't want me to sing either, because I suck. Hey, anyway, I just a quick hitter on Trump. He lost me way back when he mocked a disabled reporter. That was the end for me, and I don't know. That's a long time ago. So if you're going to take an endorsement from that man like Michael, then you tie into all his baggage too. You got it, baby. You got all his baggage. The guy is, I don't know, subhuman, whatever. All right, thanks, and happy birthday again, Don. You guys do great today.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul. I appreciate it,
I'd
man.
be as worried about his herpes as his baggage.
Trump?
Allegedly.
Jeez,
844-967-27.
But to his point, I know we got some
that's
callers,
the
but-
gift that keeps on giving.
To Paulie's point,
Herpes, trust me.
we have to, and I think Jennifer Rubin wrote it in the post there. These questions we must constantly ask these Republicans because it's BS, man. It is bunk. It is BS. They're either on the take or they're willfully ignorant or truly ignorant. It doesn't matter. They are not capable. If you support this man, if you're a member of the cult, you do not earn the right to represent anybody in this country.
Come join the Democrat cult at 844-967-2789. Be like our pal.
Herpes?
LA Tom, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tom.
Hey guys, first off, we the people are the government, just like it says on Dom's tattoo.
Remember that.
And happy birthday, Dom.
Thanks,
happy
man.
birthday, Crudy.
Hey, did you prompt Kelsey to give me a call on my birthday? Because she gave me a very nice call. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you were on Fox. And Tom, I know you had just found out like 30 minutes prior. So I'm like, so Tom told Kelsey, and by the way, it's his birthday. Why don't you call the man?
No, did not. She told me it was the birthday. 'Cause I knew it was around the 11th or somewhere in there. So she told me that part, but I did show her the video of you immediately, so she could be proud of her pop. So that was great.
She gave me a shout out on Instagram.
Yeah, well, that's big on Kelsey's page, so I really, really appreciate that. got a lot of followers.
She has followers.
I know you are for that. So anyway, no, happy birthday to you both. And the Republicans are the pro-death party. And rock on.
Rock
on. Indeed, Tom. One of our favorites on the leftist coast, LA Tom. We partied with him out in LA a couple times, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Venice Beach. And he hooked us up. Our best, the Tom and his husband, Mark, they look out for my daughter, Kelsey, kid, out there on the West Coast. Scary place. He's doing okay.
Love LA, man.
Yeah, I love Venice Beach, although it's a little seedy. You see,
especially when you're there.
Oh yeah, it's a little seedier still. Anyways, I had a thought, but I don't want to embarrass you further on your birthday.
Good luck.
I did that on my birthday. Stick around, Native Roots Radio. Then Dr. Tim Slecker and Johnny Lupanati do Busted Pencils, Educated Educators, Talking Education.
I don't want to hit a sore spot, but can we talk about herpes?
It's 2-0.
Go to hell, you old bastard.
Herpes, herpes, banana, fana, full herpes, herpes. Ow!
I'm too old for this shit.
Come on down to Mary Jane's on Main in downtown Waukesha. We are all things hemp. Edibles, flowers, chocolates, Delta 8,